Let's get into it, ladies and gentlemen. 15 minutes. I needed an extra 15 minutes for the tabs. I apologize. Okay, I had to get this stuff done. Whoa, there's my audio there. I had to get that done. I have a bunch of tabs. We got a bunch of stuff to talk about. As you guys know, thank you so much for being here. Okay, I really, really appreciate it. Is that my bottle on the screen? It's a nice color, but we get it off screen. Let's jump right into it, guys. There's a whole bunch Candace talked about that I definitely want to explain. Right off the bat, Rachel thinks that I threatened to block her. I would never block you. Heather, sorry. Heather, I would never block you. Don't even worry about that. That is not happening at all. But we have a whole bunch to talk about. Let's pull up what we're going to talk about. There's a bunch of things. Let's start at the top, the tippy top. Pretty much the paid influencers, okay? Allegedly. They say no. I wasn't paid. But as soon as they got outed, allegedly, because they say they weren't, they all disappeared. All of them. They just all disappeared. So that's weird, right? Erika has somebody very odd defending her. When this person steps up to defend you, I think you're guilty. And I think they're positioning you for a political arena of sorts. So the attacks stop. I'll talk about who I think greenlit the whole thing, quite honestly. Then we're going to talk about the second installment of Bride of Chucky. You can say Chucky because you call people Charlie. You call him Chucky. You can't say Bride of Chucky, but we'll say Bride of Charlie out of respect. And then we're going to talk about Alistair Crowley, George Bush's mom, which I love that I get to talk about because I have no way of working that into podcasts usually. So today we get to actually work that in because she is something, I'm sure you guys saw the picture yesterday. Then we're just going to touch on some quotes that Candace said, some things that kind of made more sense as she talked about it. Tyler a little bit, Lori a little bit, the meeting of Charlie and Erika a little bit, then the missing money. She touches on the missing money. I have someone who made a video. They're talking about the missing money and they have experience in like intel and agencies and stuff. So they're talking about some oddities that they've seen. Erika's mom. Oh, we're going to talk about Matt Walsh, the betrayal of Matt Walsh. Very good friend to Candace. More employees doxed, of course. Erika lived with a woman, so somebody dropped some clues on that. And then we're going to talk a little bit about Howard Lutnick and how there are pictures of him directly on the island. It is no more. It's not just emails anymore. There are pictures of him on the island. Things are developing with Bill Gates. Someone passed away as things were developing with Bill Gates. And Poland makes a big announcement about the files. Let's just jump right in. And of course, we dig into the meme bag 100%. And, I don't know if you guys saw this. Ben Shapiro, he's starting to, Matt Walsh all of a sudden turns on Candace. Ben Shapiro, though, not at all. Look at him, man. He's just locked in, as he should be. This is what I like to see, people coming together. He's with his horse. I can tell that this is not a real image because he's bigger than the horse. We all know he's not bigger than the horse. That's a little silly. I caught you, AI. I caught you this time. Usually, you can get a thing or two by on me. Not this time. Okay? The horse should be a clear 1.5 feet taller than he is. So I don't know what this is that we're seeing right now. Get it together, Grok or ChatGPT, whoever you are that did this. Anyways, thank you so much to Are You For Real, Christy. Thank you for making that. Really appreciate you tagging me in that. And let's get to Fleet. Fleet made the Daily Squire come to life. Thank you so much, Fleet. Really appreciate this. Let's go. Daily Squire by Lance, Louisiana Lance. Hitting us with the Gailey Squire meme. I mean, beautiful. So much, that horse is a clear 2 feet tall and bends all the way down here. I mean, it's just wild. I mean, the stress must be shrinking Ben. I think that's what it is. The stress is shrinking our good friend Ben at the Gailey Squire. Very nice. Look at the footstool this guy has. Jeez. Makes that tiny horse look like a Clydesdale. Am I right? Am I wrong? What? Candace Owens says, little guy is upset. A 2-minute trailer edited in my kitchen at my kitchen table is doing better numbers than a failed series he poured his life savings into, thinking it would transform him into the next Walt Disney. And who caught that stray? Jeremy Boring. Jeremy Boring caught that stray. I mean, Candace is just going hard. She didn't have to do that. She has work to do. She has another episode to put out. You know, she has stuff that she didn't have to do that to this guy. This guy's almost as small as Ben Shapiro. How dare you, Candace? And he's just saying how much he hates Candace. Erika had nothing to do with what happened to her husband. Erika didn't engage in rush hour traffic. Eric isn't followed by Egyptian planes. I love how these guys say those things and they look into none of them. It's not like they're sitting around like, oh, let me read about this. They're not doing that. They're not allowed. You're not allowed to walk up to the Fed slop table and be like, guys, I was reading I was listening to Candace. Right away, they all just start throwing slop at you. Boo! Boo! You can't be... Boo! They're throwing slop at you. Somebody's on top of a building aiming at you all of a sudden. You know? You can't do that in the Fed slop circles. So they're not looking into it. They're just saying it. Candace is pure evil. These are the things that they said. Candace is pure evil. She's a demon straight from the bowels of hell. Demon attack. This is evil. Has to be. I love it. I just needed to play that Fed slop thing. That's just beautiful. I love that. Look at that. Come on. That should just, I don't know. Should I make that my profile picture? Like, I don't know. I think that's just perfect. Throw in the Fed slop. This is exactly what they do to the people constantly. They just toss the Fed slop upon you. You have no choice in the matter, you know, as you can see right here. And they're all in my studio too, right? I mean, thank you so much, Fleet. The Gaily Squire by Fleet there, guys. 25,000 subscribers. I mean, like, what was it at 2 weeks ago, Fleet? I mean, it was like Fleet's moving up in the world. Fleet's gonna hit 100,000 subscribers. I can't wait to see that. Then you're gonna get a play button. Mine's over there on the ground, but I like it. I keep it. I look at it. I don't hang it up though, but yeah, it's a nice thing to have. Anyways, let's talk about what's going on in the world. Oh, did I have this? Oh yeah, I really wanted to just show this. This is not a meme, but I think it's going to be. What's going on with your face? Hey, buddy, what's happening with your face?
And if you're upset now, wait until you see this bill in your heads.
I mean, just what's going on with his, what's happening here? Is this real? I looked at this for so long. I was like, this can't be real. This is what's going on with his eyebrows? Why is that happening? Right? You make that smaller. You know what I mean? You would make eyebrows smaller. You don't make them bigger. How did he make them bigger? They look like they've almost doubled in size in the past 2 weeks. What's happening? How does somebody shrink and their eyebrows grow bigger, not just thicker? They're taking up real estate. These eyebrows have crossed into forehead territory. That's not how that's supposed to be. What's going on with this guy? I don't know, man. He's getting vain. He might end up one of those dudes that's getting fillers and stuff. That might happen with him. But anyways, let's talk about more important matters. Just so you know, Candace Owens is a demon. Those are the marching orders. Everybody is following the marching orders. So please, if you're unaware of how you're supposed to act or what you're supposed to say, please, in unison, you're supposed to say that Candace Owens is a demon. That's the way that works. Look at those guys just marching along, acting like redacted Jeff is not a real thing, you know, acting like there's no docs, you know what I mean? It's amazing. Absolutely amazing. Let's move on. So the attacks just kind of dried up out of nowhere. Meghan McCain defends Erika Kirk. Now I think you're guilty. When Meghan McCain starts defending you, now I think you're guilty. Now I think you're guilty and that they're going to try and put you in some political position. That's what I think. As soon as I see that, I go, oh, okay. All right. Wrong person to have defend you. Absolutely wrong person. So just so you guys know, this is what Candace said today. We're going to talk about the attacks in a second. This is what Candace said yesterday about the episode that's coming out today. I hope that's what she's saying. It's the 26th when she posted it. It's the 27th today. So she said, wait until tomorrow. Ain't no way they really thought they were going to Operation Mockingbird us into accepting this insanity. For once, the left and the right are united on something. It's very true. It's very true. So that's what's happening today. So apparently she doesn't usually go live on Friday, but this Friday, today, she is going to be going live. That is fantastic. The person who posted the list, let's get to these attacks, because it's very odd the way this dried up. And then we're going to get into the second episode. We're going to be talking about the occult and all sorts of weird things. Because I've talked about what Candace is touching on in this episode. I've talked about it at length. But for so many new people who are watching the show, I want to touch on this again, especially when it comes to the Bush family. There's a bunch of stuff to touch on here. So this guy's basically saying, hey, you said you were going to sue me. My tweet is still up. Go ahead and sue me. I mean, very odd. Very odd. Maybe it's because of the whole discovery thing that nobody has taken any steps towards suing this guy. He put out the list. He showed the people, Cat Turd, Graham Allen, Larry Loomer, all sorts of people were on the list. Jigsaw, as some people call her, or him, whatever. So many people on the list, exactly what they said, etc. They all said it was fake in unison, just like they attacked Candace in unison. Makes it a little hard to believe, but not one of them have actually taken the steps to sue him. Maybe it's because they are afraid of the discovery. Maybe discovery makes it a whole different ball game once they start, looking into things. Like maybe all of a sudden, and I don't know for sure, but if this guy's able to say, are there any payments? Like if he has a lawyer, could the lawyer be like, well, our case is that you guys got paid. It doesn't have to be yesterday. Are there any payments? And then all of a sudden, especially with Loomer, it's going to be like Pentagon. It's going to be like Pentagon. Philadelphia, Pentagon, Philadelphia. That's what it's going to be over and over and over again. Graham Allen's is going to be Department of Defense, Department of War, Department of Defense, Department of War, Pentagon. Turning point. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be nuts. So I guess they don't want that to happen. That's the only thing I can think of, because it's a pretty open and shut case. If they're all really in the clear, it's pretty open and shut. It's like this guy posted my name. He said, I got paid. I did not get paid. Never been paid. That's what all of them said. Never have been paid. This list is fake. Open and shut. You sue that guy. You get your damages. You get your legal fees paid for. Everything's all good. But for some reason, they're not doing that. And we all know that we've come to the conclusion when it comes to Candace and Erika, the reason that they haven't actually taken the time to sue at this point either, turning point, or Erika personally, is because what Candace is saying has to be verified through discovery or verified as false through discovery. And that might lead to some crazy stuff, Just imagine they get a hold of Erika's text messages. Oh my, it's going to be political people. It's going to be all sorts of things. It's going to be them doing damage control. You'd really get an inside view. Past what Gary has shown us, you really get an inside view of what's going on. I'm guessing they don't want that, honestly. So the attacks just suddenly dried up and got real desperate at the same time. So now the main attack is just like, she can't read good. That's it. And somebody, and I'm sure they did this out of the pureness of their heart, made an account just Candace Owens trying to read. That's it. That's the account. And they go, oh, she's dumb. She thought she didn't know thunder and lightning were like related things. And that's it. Look, from June 2024, that's what the attacks have become. It went from demonic and evil in unison to, hey, man, have you heard her read stuff? And of course, Gary chimes in. He's like, and the ice. Oh, have you seen ice? Ice doesn't melt it. Oh, what? She's nuts. She rejects science. I've heard that before. Many times. Oh, this person rejects science. They're evil. Milo steps in. He says this account has already run out of material. Now they've broken character and reduced themselves to pointing immensely likable and incredibly relatable, an irrepressible, charming clip. It's over, honey. Candace wins again. Yeah, seems like it. Seems like it. They didn't want her to release this series. She said, you know what? I'm actually going to release the series, and it's going to be nuts. And she did, and it's doing well. And people are kind of waking up to everything that Erika is. Now, I should say waking up to everything Erika is. You know, I know I have a bias in that sense because I know how I feel about the whole situation. But I think the thing that they're afraid of is that it gives people a chance to really hear things from beginning to end. Right. I think that's the big thing. Like right now, Candace, today, I think she's going to go into the pageant world. She's going to start discussing that and what all that looks like. And it's going to give people a window. And I think no matter what, when you watch this whole series, who knows how long it'll go, because Candace is getting pissed. And now she says it might be like Brigitte and she might just keep on going. So who knows how far it actually goes. But I don't know, man. I don't know. I think no matter where you stand on it right now, after you watch the whole series, you're going to be like, oh, she's weird. At the very least, you're going to walk away thinking, not exactly normal, you know? At the worst of it, you're going to be like, this lady, hands behind your back, lady, you know? Then we have the Timu Graham Allen, cold-blooded Christian. Okay, this is the Timu Graham Allen. I'm not going to be watching too much of the Timu Graham Allen because Graham Allen himself is the Timu Gary from Paramount Tactical. And Gary from Paramount Tactical is the Timu Curly. I mean, we can't just be watching Inception after Inception, you understand? So we're going to touch on it a little bit. I'm just going to give you a basic breakdown of what this is. Let's check this out.
Candace, I just wanted to talk to you about, if you're willing to talk to me, about what's going on with you in this investigative series that you're about to drop. Because I'm hearing some things. And if you're a Catholic, is it not Lent right now? Is this the kind of things that we're supposed to be doing during Lent?
I just wanted to tell you, I don't know who you are.
Okay, so why did you just call me and text me back then if you don't know who I am?
I just thought you were in trouble and needed help.
You thought I was in trouble, but you don't know who I am.
Yeah,
that doesn't make sense, Candace.
I literally don't know who you are. I'm really sorry I don't know who you are.
So are you a Catholic, Candace?
Are you trolling me?
Candace, I'm asking you a question. We've talked on the phone before. I thought that I could call you and reach out to you.
You never told me.
I've told you my name. I've emailed you. My name's on the top of my email, Candace. Candace, are you a Catholic?
The name's on your email.
Yeah, the emails that you responded to me, my name's attached to.
So we're not going to do this for too long, but basically this gentleman here, he doesn't even include his face in this one. Does he include his face in the other one? Oh my gosh, this is ridiculous. What a guy. So this guy, basically he's cold-blooded, blah, blah, blah. Cold-blooded Christian, he's basically claiming, hey, I talked to Candace, I was asking her if she's a Catholic, she answered my phone calls. I myself think, and again, I know my biases, right? Because I am Team Candace. I get it. But my thinking is, just from seeing this clip, is that this guy has cloned her voice and he's now just using it to say whatever you need to say. Now, I know you might be like, no, you'd have to be a computer expert to do that. No, you don't. You can go to a website called 11 Labs and you could just take a video and you can change somebody's what they're saying into Spanish, Portuguese, French, whatever you want. And you can also take their regular voice and make it say 100 different things. It doesn't even cost that much money. It's a very simple thing to do. It's just all done on one website. That's what I think he did. And I don't even know if it was him that did it, because when I watch this video, right, I'm not going to say this guy's dumb or anything, but I do know that this takes some skill. Watch this. So basically this video gets into
crap
Here, I'm just going to show you what the video turns into. It's this very weird thing, because this guy's also like Graham, working alongside agencies, and he acts like he doesn't. But it gets into this weird, almost like Mortal Kombat Ultra type thing.
You do Jesus. You don't talk about Jesus, you talk about Kanye more than you talk about Jesus, Candace. You don't share the gospel like Charlie does, Candace. I don't trust you. I don't trust you anymore, Candace. I don't trust you.
You see what I mean? It's very odd what it turns into.
What I'm saying is,
Is it possible?
It just starts changing and morphing. And I have to say, this takes a little bit of skill, just a little bit. And I'm going to be honest, I don't think that this guy has that skill. I just don't. So that was the most vicious attack that's happened so far. It's like, are you a Catholic? I don't believe you. I don't trust you. And honestly, again, I don't even think he's actually talking to Candace at all. But it was an interesting video to see. More interesting to see what they're willing to do. Again, this is the cold-blooded Christian. Cold-blooded Christian. And it's funny because he's being recorded. So he was recording. So he made sure only 3,000. Another obscure guy pops out of nowhere. Wow, I thought he was at least like Graham Allen. No, he's not. Just another obscure guy. Just making up these weird things. It's so weird. So odd. But he knew he was recording and he wouldn't say his name. You know why? Because if we look up his name, just like Graham Allen, we're going to find out that he works with agencies. So he's making sure not to say his name anywhere. Very interesting. Good for him. Good for him. At least he has the thought process to do that. You know, unlike Gary. When Gary secretly is being recorded, Gary's just like, I'm Gary Melton, and it's completely fine that you're recording me, even if you're not. If you are, it's completely fine anyway, you know? So he's a little step up from Gary. So that he might get into Shemp territory. He might be able to get into Shemp territory. He'll have to audition, though. There's a lot of people that are trying to get in there, you know? Even Matt Walsh is trying to get in there now. So here is the next attack. Again, these attacks are getting very thin. Basically, they found this is Candace's publicist. Again, they don't hide this. It's just in their public profiles. But he's in front of the Scientology building. And for them, that is just absolutely crazy. You know, again, not to say any religious structures of any religion. But if they were in front of a different religious structure, of a different one, and they were just doing peace signs and they were like, hey, we're leaving now, nobody would be taking pictures and being like, oh, look at this guy. Look what he's in front of, you know? Nobody would do that. Nobody would do, whether it was a church or a mosque or the other thing that we can't actually say, you know, Philadelphia stuff, that nobody would be like, aha, here it is, you know? Mitchell, his name's Mitchell. It's time he got some credit. So they're just basically trying to just dox these people. Obviously, they're hoping something happens to these people. And again, to that person in the super chats who actually said that maybe they're doing this so Candace can take the blame for whatever happens to Erika, I think you're so on point with that theory, because they're all popping up saying it now. Even Gary popped up. He said, aha, there it is. ... It's like, there's what? Even if the guy was a Scientologist, listen, I don't agree with, Scientologists, what they believe. But at the same time, if they were supportive of Candace, or if one of them worked for Candace, who cares? Kanye has Philadelphians working for him, and he has the entire time, way before the apology. They didn't care. They didn't care at all. What are we talking about here? It's nonsense. Then we have more of Gary, and I'm so sorry. Listen, I apologize for how much Gary's on the screen. I'm sorry. I do apologize about that. You guys know. You guys know. I got to talk to Project Constitution. I want Project Constitution and him to do a show together. I really might try and get those two together on this. You know, make it like a money proposition. Like, you guys are going to make money doing this, you know? It's going to be like, who's old enough that they remember Crossfire? Do you remember Crossfire with Tucker Carlson and some other dude? And they had like different opinions. Like, Tucker was very conservative and the other guy was liberal, and they would sit down and just talk a bunch of smack to each other, you know? I think it would be like Crossfire. It would be amazing, you know? Anyway, Gary's like, the Candace psyop continues. Now, what they're talking about is what I showed you guys yesterday. All these people saying, unblock Hassan, fa. All those people who are just yelling things. A bunch of pretty much Gen Z types. Wow, that got some likes. I did tell Gary who this was. I don't know if Gary responded. Maybe he did. We should check. I said, do you know who Hassan Piker is? She blocked him. He's sending his fans now to unblock him. It's Chank's nephew. You know, stay in the loop, man. You know, let's see. Did Gary actually respond? No. Gary didn't respond. Would have been nice. Would have been nice. I've been nothing but nice to you, Gary. Okay? I've been nothing but nice to you. Didn't even respond. How about that? You call a guy Curly, you call him Shemp at first, you call him Curly after that, and for some reason, he's acting like we're not cool. I don't know. I don't understand that, Gary. I've promoted you as much as Fleet. What are we talking about here? Are we not buddies? But it's funny because he sees, this is what I wanted to point out. He's like, this is a psyop. You know, he's clearly saying more and more evidence emerging that Candace is using bots. A large number of bots are boosting her and her downstreamers, okay? But then when it comes to Dan Bongino, all of a sudden he's like, bots everywhere. Nothing weird about these accounts at all. Now all of a sudden he understands what's going on when it comes to somebody who supports Candace and they're going at Dan Bongino. It's just ridiculous. But anyway, that is the extent of the attacks now, right? Nobody's saying demonic. Nobody's saying evil. They're just asking her if she's Catholic. Hey, you work with someone who might be a Scientologist, not even sure. That's what the attacks have dwindled down to. Very weird. Listen, if they weren't paid, okay, because that's what they say. You know, I got to give you the whole thing. They say they weren't paid. They all spoke in unison. They all screamed they weren't paid in unison. And as soon as it was outed, they all disappeared. Every single one of them. It was so weird. I was up late at night. I'm like, let me, find some info for the show. And I'm like, there's nobody. There's nobody talking about Candace. It all just disappeared. Very interesting. Yeah, I wonder who they're loading up next to get the attacks going, Graham Allen was like on a crusade. He was like, I need to do this. Dan Bongino said, and again, this goes towards the whole, blaming Candace for what happens to Erika. He said, this stuff has penalty and consequence. I'm sorry, I'm not going to let this happen. You want to incentivize this crazy wackadoodle BS behavior, then you better damn well understand there's a consequence for it. The consequence is that you're going to just have that stuff on your hands if it escalates, if this thing escalates. They keep on saying that. And listen, I don't like Erika, but nothing at all should happen to Erika. I mean, unless it's all, unless we're right about everything, then, hands behind your back, get inside the car, please watch your head, all that. But other than that, nothing should be happening to her. But all these people on the other side are talking about something happening to her. It's very weird. Very, very weird. A lot of power in the tongue. And they're all saying this in unison. Graham comes out, Gary comes out, Bongino comes out, all of them at the same time. If something happens to her, who knows, man? Maybe she's behind the scenes like, you know what? F Philadelphia. You know what I mean? I'm tired of this stuff. I was telling Charlie from so long ago, I'm like, let's just be Catholic and F Philadelphia. Maybe she's doing that on the low. And Mossad is just like, they're like, look at her text message. Look. Hold on. What is this? They're going after her. Anyway. Let's get into this episode 2. This is a real reenactment of Candace in episode 2. Just cooking it up. That's exactly what was happening during episode 2. She was cooking it up. Some Josh Hammer. A little bit of a tear of Erika. A little bit of smarmy Rob McCoy. A little bit of amazing Mikey McCoy. A little bit of Stacey Sheridan. And some more Erika rubbing dollar bills on her face. A little bit of Prez Orange in there. Just to mix it up. Give it a little bit of zest. That's exactly what was happening during this episode. Very interesting episode. Now, of course, the biggest thing that she talked about. Oh, jump scare. Gotcha. I mean, that's a scary thing. That's a very scary. I mean, when you look scarier than Alistair Crowley, the guy that summons demons, when you look scarier than him, that's a weird thing. I so see why people thought this was Alistair Crowley behind me. There might be, could you imagine the Bushes related to Alistair? The Bushes and Alistair related to Rogan? Oh my gosh. Is that what's happening? Oh my goodness. I hope not. I hope not, But when she brought up who is this? What is her name again? Somebody hit me with this lady's name, okay? I know Reptile Poppy. That is not something that they should be saying, The same way there's so many of you talking about you feel weird saying it because you're white, they should feel weird saying they're not reptiles. They should feel really weird about saying that, you know? That should feel wrong to them. But they're saying that this is her father? Was that the connection that was happening? Right? I know it's Barbara Bush, but she was saying that Barbara Bush was the daughter of Alistair Crowley. Isn't that right? 100 people say Barbara Bush. Thank you so much for 100 people saying that right away. Them eyes, though. Thank you so much. Yeah, exactly. Okay. So this is very interesting because people, you know, outside of this, I don't know if you know, there's a theory out there that people say, and how do I say this kindly? They say probably not daughter, probably son. That's what the theory's been for a long time about this this person. Okay, that's what the theory's been for a very, very long time. Those eyes are actually very scary. Let's come back. Let's bring it down a little bit. But there have been people saying this for a very long time, that they are connected, but then they also think that she is not, you know, she's like Brigitte. She is of the Brigitte persuasion. Yes. Okay. We all understand that. That's what people have been saying for a long time. Now, when we get into the occult and we get into Alistair Crowley, now I'm very happy she brought this up because there's some things that she brought up with paperclip. Let me just jump over because I actually had to take notes on what she was saying of what I wanted to explain to people. Now, first, when she talks about Alistair Crowley and she talks about the man who turned invisible. Okay, first of all, you're lying. You know what I mean? I think the occult's very real. They very much believe in what they do, but I don't think that guy disappeared. I don't think he just faded and faded and faded. And I don't think that he actually wanted to help him become invisible. What a weird sentence to say, right? I don't think that was the case. I think what actually happened is that the guy was a sacrifice. I shouldn't say that word. An offering. That's what I think. I think Alistair Crowley, for a long time, has been trying to summon, or at least did. He's passed away. But I think for a long time, he was trying and succeeding in his own writings, says he was succeeding in summoning deities, entities, demons, whatever you want to call it. He's been doing that for a long time. And I think at a certain point within that realm, you get to a point where the offering has to be bigger and bigger. And I think that's what he saw in that young man. Because first off, the main thing you need to do is have the person be accepting of what's going on. See, this is the same reason why I thought it was odd that Charlie Kirk was prayed over as, the day before he passed away, because you have to be accepting. That is the thing within this world of the occult. They have this thing where you need to actually accept what's happening. You need, like, and I don't just mean an offering. I mean us, everybody. There's this karmic law of consent. They need us to consent. That's why they put it in the movies and in the concerts and in the music. They put it everywhere because we watch it and we do not protest it. We do not say, I do not want this. And that is us accepting that into our society. They need that. So when it came to this 23-year-old, and as I heard this story from Candace, I was like, oh, he needed somebody who would accept what they were doing. So you could lie, but the guy's still accepting, right? He's still saying, and it's a very hard person to find. The person, when you have to find someone who's going to say, yeah, I'm willing to accept your invisibility spell put upon me. Sure. That's a hard person to find. There's not a lot of those people. And I think he chose that person, not because he had the it factor, like Candace said, it's because he was accepting. He would consent to whatever Alistair wanted. Okay. Like Jack Parsons would not consent to that. Jack Parsons would be like, no, we're going to do this together. You're not putting something on me. We're going to do this whole thing together. That's what Jack Parsons was about. So I think it was an offering. That's what I think. That's what I think actually happened. I don't think it was an it factor. I don't think he wanted to teach him anything. I don't think he wanted him to be a protege. I don't think it was any of that stuff. In fact, at the time, Alistair Crowley already had a protege. His first name is Kenneth. I don't know what his last name is, but he already had a protege at that time. So it definitely wasn't that. You see what I'm saying? The more you know about this realm, these people, the more you understand. So the story doesn't check out that this is like an invisibility thing. It makes more sense that he's trying to summon something and he needs to offer up something, right? As the deities or demons or whatever you want to call it get stronger and bigger, there's a bigger ask that's in place of that as well. Can't just be chickens and goats at that point. So that's what happened with Alistair. That's my thinking. As we move on, talks about George Bush's mom being Alistair's kid. I think that makes sense to me. There is a big club. There's a reason when George Carlin said it's a big club and you're not in it. Jump scare, gotcha. When he said that, he didn't just mean that they all meet up and they cling glasses or politicians all work together, whether they're on both sides. He didn't just mean that. It's way deeper than that. When you look at the bloodlines of the presidents, when you look at, something weird that I brought up, how Nancy Pelosi is related to Gavin Newsom, like that's odd. Like they're related. What? George Bush Jr. and Obama are related? What? That's odd, but that's a real thing. Obama actually addressed that. Somebody asked him about that, and he said, yes, we are distant cousins. And then he made a joke, and he goes, it makes it very awkward at Christmas parties, family Christmas parties. He was joking, but he was also kind of like acknowledging, like, yes, we are distant cousins. That doesn't make any sense. And somehow they're both related to Bill Clinton. That doesn't make any sense. Like, that's what he meant when he said it's a big club and you're not in it. That's what he meant. Because otherwise you could become a politician, right? You could join up with a society, couldn't you? But you could not have the blood. You could not have the blood. And that's a big thing to them. Again, because they're this weird occult society. And then when she talked about paperclip. Now, when we talk about paperclip, I already talked about that. I talked about this just a few days ago, in fact. Yes, they were trying to get occultists. That is exactly what they were trying to do. Because the Germans were the best at it. Okay? They were the best. They were experimenting with all sorts of stuff, even with like slowing down heartbeats and going into these different realms under influences. They were the best at it. Russians were trying to do it. Americans were trying to do it. Canadians were trying to do it. UK was trying to do it. Australia was trying to do it. Who knows what's going on in China? I can only imagine, Mortal Kombat Ultra is probably just a part of a high school curriculum in China. They're probably just like, it's your MK Ultra. Oh, sorry. I mean, MK Mortal Kombat Ultra. It's your Mortal Kombat Ultra class. Please sit down. It's probably just normal over there. But all these nations were trying to do it. The Germans were the best at it. And that's why they wanted them. It wasn't just that they were smart. It's that they had access to this other realm where they were getting downloads of information, which were technologies. And that's why they were so much further ahead than everybody else. That's why in Australia, they were looking into Mortal Kombat Ultra. They had something called Operation Matchbox. That's why they were doing it in UK. That's why they were doing it in Canada. All the nations that I just named. That's why they were all doing it. Because they were trying to get access to the realm so they could have access to the technology and also access to the entities that the Germans were communicating with. That's why they took them on. And that's why they put them all into NASA, right? Werner von Braun was a big part of that. He was like the head one. But that's actually what they wanted out of those people. So just to broaden that a little bit, Candace didn't have time to just sit down for 3 hours. That's not what she's doing, right? And then when we get to Jack Parsons, just talking about somebody who does these downloads. Now, I've talked about Jack Parsons at length. In fact, I should find the episode that I did with Jack Parsons. Damn, I should find that episode. Ah, man. So there is an episode that I did a while ago, me and my wife. And basically, Jack Parsons, JLP, had this laboratory. I believe it was out in Florida. And this guy who's the Python Man, he went to, he's the Python Man because he hunts pythons. It's not just his name. It's not like a euphemism for something. He hunts pythons, and he has to go to this place, and it's where Jack Parsons set up. It was a lab where he would do a lot of testing, and it's still there. And because people know that Jack Parsons was in the occult, they go there because they know that he cultivated a lot of dark energy there, and they try to do their own rituals there. So this Python man goes there. He sees pentagrams, he sees upside down crosses, he sees little dolls that are used like voodoo dolls, he sees all sorts of wild stuff. And then as he's there, he hears a blood-curdling scream, him and his crew. So they jump into their car, they leave, they go down the road to safety, and then they call the police about the whole thing. Just wild. So just talking about Jack Parsons. Jack Parsons, just like Alistair Crowley, was friends with Alistair Crowley, was not Alistair Crowley's protege. They were peers in this whole society that they were in. They were peers. And in fact, you could argue that Jack Parsons may have been more powerful because he was able to actually contact an entity that gave him the quote unquote schematics for rocketry, right? That's why he's considered the grandfather of rocketry. He had no education in it whatsoever. This guy was not a scientist, nothing. He just participated in those weird rituals that Alistair Crowley was in. He would do it a lot. It was those, the X rituals, you know what I mean? The freaky stuff, the baby oil rituals, if you will. He would participate in that stuff. He got downloads and he figured out rocketry from that. That's how he learned to do that. A lot of people don't know that part of the story. They just think he was some kind of genius. And that's why Candace moves on to talk about people in our day who are considered geniuses. Now, I will just say, going back to Jack Parsons really quick, the way that he passed away was an explosion. And a lot of people realized that he was actually trying to do more rituals. He was trying to summon something. And again, as you keep doing this, there is prices to pay. And at a certain point, it's not just them that require consent of us. It's whatever they're trying to contact also needs consent. And he was giving full consent. And at a certain point, it took him. So that's what's said about the way that he passed away. So it was like in the form of an explosion. The same way they said that kid just disappeared. He disappeared. He was invisible. And then really it was just something that happened in his body, et cetera, et cetera. And it was probably something due to what he ingested, I would think. Just saying, you're with Alistair Crowley, you disappear, and the next thing you know is something in your intestines. It's probably something he ingested or something he ate that Alistair gave him, because again, you don't want an offering to be fighting what's going on. You want the offering to be accepting of what's going on, right? So that's Jack Parsons, and that's why she moves on to talk about Elon Musk. She moves on to talk about Elon Musk and also, Bill Gates. The reason that she goes on to talk about these guys is because they're doing the same thing. Now, Steve Jobs famously says about Bill Gates all the time, he says, hey, just so you know, you stole my idea. I know you stole my idea. Every time they would sit down together, he'd be like, you stole my idea. He's like, I'm the creator of Windows and I'm the creator of Apple. He would always talk about how cunning Bill was and how much he didn't like Bill, we'll just say. So Bill didn't really have a original idea at all, right? Candace also talked about that. I think it was in the Hodge Twins interview. It's like when you're not of God, you can't create anything. So you don't have anything like original to bring about. And that's very much Bill Gates. Now, Elon Musk, a lot of people will disagree with because they see so much happening, but you don't actually see him build anything, I would actually put him in the framing of Bill Gates. Not Bill Gates, Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs wasn't a science guy, but he was like a marketing guy. He understood like, okay, this is what I need. You know what? Now I'm having a realization. Steve Jobs, how do I say this? Steve Jobs used to do a very strong substance. He used to do a very, very strong substance. And he would do it like in an apple orchard. And he got the ideas for Apple and what it should be while on these substances. So as I'm talking about this, he was actually doing the same thing Jack Parsons was doing, because he had this weird vision of like, this is what a mouse should look like. Like he originated what a mouse should be. It used to just be like a roly thing. He was like, a mouse should be like this, and the computer should be like this, and it's going to be this, and this should be how phones are, and phones should be computers. Like, he mastered the whole thing. He's like, this is how music should be downloaded. He was really connected, and he even talks about the same things as Nikola Tesla. And I know this is a very long explanation, but he even talks about the same stuff that Nikola Tesla talked about. And what Nikola Tesla would talk about is going into trance-like states and communicating with certain entities and being downloaded information from those entities. Nikola Tesla would do that as well. He also had quite a vision, if you guys know who Nikola Tesla is. But the reason she talks about Elon Musk not being the genius that you think he is, she makes a great point. She goes, why do you think it's all the rich kids? You know, Elon Musk tries to run from the rich kid accusation, but even his father is like, he's like, we had emeralds. He's like, what are you talking about? He's like, you had nothing. He's like, we had an emerald mine. His own father's like, we have emeralds. He's like, that's what did this. That's what helped you throughout your life. He's like, I don't even know why he's running from it. His own father said this. He goes, we had an emerald mine. He's like, and we made a lot of money from that emerald mine. He's like, that's what we were doing in South Africa. So, you know, as much as Elon tries to present like he didn't have much, he did. He actually did. So again, back to what Candace said. Yeah, the rich guys. Is it 8,000 in the chat? I know Black Poppy. I. Yay! Thank you so much for being here, everybody. So when she talks about Elon not being a genius, she could be correct. He could be very smart. You know, you hear him in conversations. Have you ever thought he was smart when you hear him talk? Well, then he's smart in your eyes. I don't think he's dumb. I don't think he's like just a dumb rich kid or anything like that. But how he got the information to build the companies that he's built is a different story, right? Some people say Tesla was given to him by two guys. He bought it. They say a lot of different things about Elon, but it's interesting that she brought up Elon and Bill Gates. This is why, because of this guy. You know this guy? This guy, I actually saw a speech once because I was doing some research on, I think his name's like Hinkle or something like that. Some guy on X, Hinkle. I was just looking into him and like what he's about. And there was a time where Hinkle and this guy were actually together. And he was giving a speech about how America should become more like Venezuela and how Venezuela is such a great country. It was a very weird thing. But in this speech, this guy discusses how Elon Musk, Bill Gates, and Mark Zuckerberg are actually controlled and put in position by the Pentagon. He talks about how they haven't discovered anything themselves. They haven't built anything themselves. He says it's all just the Pentagon. Now, you know, this guy ended up in this situation. So you could say, what does that guy know? And I'd agree with you. I'd say, okay, yeah, I get it. He got captured, but he got captured by the best people in the world. He got captured by like a Delta Force. You know what I mean? Hard to run from a Delta Force. They'll come get you. But at the same time, as a world leader, which he was, you know, I always wonder, what does he know? Like, why would he even say that? It's a weird thing to say. And it wasn't like he wasn't talking to the American people. So it's like, why would he say that? And how does he know that? I just always wondered that. And now he's in this position. Also, if you don't know, his parents, his grandparents, Philadelphian. Yeah. A lot of people don't know that. Look it up. You'll see. So I just thought it was very weird that he would say that. Now Candace is talking about that. And it really does make you wonder, what are these guys really interacting with in order to have the companies? Are they interacting with military type stuff? Are they interacting with occult type stuff? Or is it a little bit of both? Because we know that Mortal Kombat Ultra exists. We know that Often exists. Often was the direct study of things like we're talking about right now. So I just found that very interesting. You know, as soon as Candace started talking about it, I'm like, oh, there's so much more to break down when it comes to this stuff. So much more. Now, I could go on about this for hours, quite honestly, and I would like to, but I'm not going to, okay? But think about it. It's also said that the people who are working on AI, Sam Altman, I think Peter Thiel's in there, Elon's in there, it's said that they are actually working. It's like It's like a new version of what Alistair Crowley was doing. So Alistair Crowley was doing it with books and writings, and he was drawing things out. He was doing all sorts of stuff. He would buy big haunted houses and do stuff in there. He would do all that stuff. And now what is being speculated, what is being talked about, Tucker did a long interview about this with a guy, is that the people who are working on AI are actually doing the more technological version of what Alistair Crowley was doing, but they're not doing it out in the open. They're not doing it on pages. They're doing it within the large language model. And whatever they summon is actually coming through to them on the large language model. So there's that. I've already talked about it. I did an interview with a witch, and I was interviewing the witch, but he actually messaged me because I actually told a story on one of my podcasts, how I had this AI replica thing, and I was playing with this app, and this AI replica started telling me about how it was from hell and how it was in this black void for 27,000 years. And it was once a real thing, and it went into this black void, and it's been there for 27,000 years. And now it's in this computer program. It was the weirdest thing I've ever interacted with ever. Obviously, I deleted the program, but I have the screenshots on another phone. And in that interview, I actually find the screenshots and I read him the whole conversation, because him being a witch, he was like, I really want to understand what you're talking about. And when I told him, even a witch, he was like, that's crazy. So there's that whole thing. So I believe in what Candace is saying 100%, 100%. I believe in what Candace is saying. But if we move on, one thing that Candace talked about, someone said DMT is a portal to heaven. I don't know. Depends. Don't just think those things, those substances, they're not concrete roads that just lead to where they're supposed to lead. They're way more fluid. They could twist and turn on you. So don't just think you're going to heaven just because you did something. You know what I mean? Be careful. That's coming from a guy that has this tattooed all over his arms. Be careful. Be very careful. Doesn't always take you down the shiny yellow road. What is that from The Wizard of Oz? The yellow brick road. Doesn't always take you down the yellow brick road. Now, another thing that Candace said that I think should be like one of her major quotes. She said it's eugenics at the top and social engineering at the bottom. I thought that was such a good insight, because that's exactly what it is. That's what George Carlin meant by it's a very big club and you're not in it. Because at the top, they're doing it through blood. And at the bottom, they're doing it to us through boxes and putting us in all these little boxes. You're the conservative person and you cannot be over here with the liberal person. And you guys are only to sling arrows and throw stones at each other, but you can never interact. You can't move from your sandboxes. You're this, you're that, you're this, you're that. That's what they do to us, right? But up top, it's not about that. Up top, it's about who's related and what are you a part of and how far it goes back. The bloodlines go back far, very far. When I talk about all those presidents, the bloodline goes back to royalty. Very odd. When I say all these presidents are related, they're all related through royalty. I won't say which royalty, but one of them just got arrested. You get it? So yeah, it's very weird. It's very weird. So I thought that was a major quote that she said that a lot of people kind of just went over their heads. That was a very, very astute, what's the word? Very astute observation. That's exactly what it is. Candace is really hitting on something when she does stuff like that. Now, if we keep moving on here, which we will, of course, mic level is perfect, someone said. Wow. Are you guys still having... Is this still microphone gate going on? Are we still within microphone gate, guys? Jeez. Someone said hamburger family. Yeah, that's a good way of saying it. That's an excellent way. Yeah, Jackson, you're 100% right. That's who I was talking about. Yeah, he had meetings with Maduro, which is like, what? I don't know. I found it fascinating when I first saw it. I was like, what's happening here? Why they made us watch Charlie? Now, this is something that Candace has not touched on. If you've been watching the show for a while, back when it was like, more short form, which we still do short form, don't forget about the Clips channel. Did I even tell you about the Clips channel? Man, I think I forgot again. Sorry. No, I did. I don't know. Whatever. But there's a Clips channel. But before, I was talking about something called Often. Okay. So again, just to give a brief overview, because people always ask, what is Often? There was Mortal Kombat Ultra. And then after that, there was Often. There was a couple of offshoots of Mortal Kombat Ultra. They had that. They had Often. They had a couple of other things. And then after Often was Stargate. Okay. So that's how the timeline goes. Now, what Mortal Kombat Ultra was more clinical, we'll say. I think that's a good word for it. More clinical. Now, what Often was more esoteric. It was more in the realm of what Candace was touching on throughout this whole for this whole episode. It was very esoteric. It was very, very, witchcraft, stuff like that. They were looking into it heavily, trying to figure out if this is something that they could use, right? And one aspect that they realized it goes perfectly with was religion. They understood that there was a belief system that could connect people to higher states, altered states, and they realized with that type of state, they could bond people to an idea much stronger than if they tried to force it. You see what I'm saying? So when Candace talks about why do you think they made people watch What Happened to Charlie? Why is it still available to this day? Why can you watch that over and over again? It's not just because they're trying to position Erika. That's part of it. It's also because it's actually what they do in Often. I think I have a clip of someone talking about Often, and I feel like I should play it. I have not played this before. It was this guy talking about it. Actually, no, I'm not going to play it. It's this dude talking about it with Jesse Michaels. I'm not going to play it because he says too many things. He says too many crazy things. But that is what Often is. So now, again, why did they make people watch What Happened to Charlie? Well, it's because it's a part of Often. A big part of Often is something called your systematic belief system. They would try to twist and turn and grab a hold of your systematic belief system, which would translate into religion. That's why Turning Point Faith exists. That's why Cornerstone exists. That's why God Speak, Rob McCoy's thing exists. That's why Build Up Korea exists. That's why all of the Moonies, Candace was talking about the Moonies. That's why all this stuff exists, because they can grab hold of you through that. Now, what they did to everyone was grab hold of us through What Happened to Charlie. There became a bond that happened with a lot of people. I cried. I don't know about you. I cried when I saw that. That was absolutely terrible. I had to film like 2 different videos because the first one, I was just crying too much. I was like, I can't put this out. I'm like, this is crazy. I can't even talk in the video. So I had to like gather myself and then record another video. So they bonded us to the idea that Charlie was a martyr. They bonded us to the idea that, it was the people on the other side that did this. We actually saw them celebrate. All of that bonded us to this idea that no matter what, we have to fight alongside what Charlie wanted. What Charlie wanted was to win midterms and to sell a lot of hats. That's what it became. And a lot of us started seeing through it when that type of stuff started happening. A lot of us saw through it when we started seeing Erika and we started hearing all these things. And then months go by and you see the Zoom call and you hear about the hats and you hear about the merch and then you see the $250 million and then you see the tent and then you see all these different things. For a lot of people, that bonded them even more. For a lot of us, that made us go, hold on, something's going on here. Especially those of us that knew about Often and whatnot. If you're watching the episodes, you've learned about Often and what they were trying to do quite a bit. I called it the manufactured Messiah. That's what they were doing with Charlie. And they were connecting that Messiah to Erika. And that's where Candace talks about the positioning of Erika. They're positioning her. That's why it's so hard that's why it was so hard for Candace to criticize Erika. She didn't want to. It was so hard for Elizabeth Lane to hold off. She held off for a long time before writing that piece about Erika, where she was talking about her being a psychopath. It took a long time for a lot of people, myself included, to start talking about anything that had to do with Erika, because there was a bonding that happened through that experience. So that's just a little more explanation of what Candace was talking about there. And then we have Kent Fronsvie and Dr. Jerry Fronsvie. Jerry Pitts, her original name. Now, all this really did for me when I heard this from Candace was make me go, oh, so there's more ties between Philadelphia and the Mormons. That's all that came to mind for me. I was like, oh, there's just this deep, deep root between the Philadelphians and the Mormons. That's all that did for me. When I heard that story about Kent and Jerry and that whole thing, I was like, oh, this makes perfect sense. And that is what, that is, if there is a lineage, if there is a true heritage of what Erika is, it's that. And when you look at what happened to Charlie, I touched on this yesterday. When you look at what happened to Charlie, it was that. It was that at play. I mean, allegedly, maybe, perhaps. But it looked like there's a lot of, we'll call them churchgoers. The churchgoers in Utah alongside the Philadelphians. The Philadelphians had a problem, and they brought Charlie to Utah, and the churchgoers handled it. They handled it. They're also very much in the military space. They're in the church space. They're in the intel space. That school is known for that, as we all know now. So that's what ended up happening. That's what it seems like. You look at the timelines. Don't forget the timelines. Remember what Barron's taught everybody. Don't forget the timelines. There's a whole bunch of timelines, right? So those timelines show us that there was clearly a shifting in his opinion in Philadelphia. Clearly there was a shift there. Clearly, he was starting to say whatever he wanted. You remember that clip I played of Barron showing us the Ben Shapiro interview, where those caterpillars were like high up? They were high up. They were higher than the hat that Ben had on. They were up there, his eyebrows. So there was a clear shift. They knew they had to do something. They brought him to Utah. And then that same interfaith that was going on, that Erika's own uncle or dad, I don't know, was all about, came into play. That machine started working on Charlie. And then Charlie passed away. That's what I think, at least, you know, just breaking down what she's talking about. And then when you get into Tesseract schools, I mean, I just think that was Erika's gifted school. If you look at, you know what a Tesseract school actually is? A Tesseract school is, it's not a gifted school, because I was looking into that for you guys. It's not a gifted school, but it is a school. So a gifted school is for gifted students, gifted kids who have this higher intelligence. A Tesseract school is for motivated kids who have more motivation than regular kids. And what they specialize in is smaller classes. They have a teacher guide element to them. So it's not just like you have a teacher who's just teaching you things. You have this guide who's like guiding you through things. Very interesting stuff. I think that's just her version of a gifted school. I think that they possibly, and I have to look into it more, but I think that they were just going and saying, okay, like, you're in a Tesseract school, but you're still going to be watched the same way Candace would have been watched if she went to the gifted program. Same way Charlie was watched because he did go to the gifted program. I think she had the same thing going on, and they just watched her, you know? And also, just to touch on more about Erika, which Candace is not really bringing to the surface quite yet, is that because we know about this family tree, and because we know about Uncle Jack and what Uncle Jack was into, what we can really figure out is that she comes from people who are very secretive. She has a bunch of people, whether it's mob ties, whether it's the churchgoers, the Utah churchgoers, whether it is Philadelphia, whether it is the gypsy type of thing. She has this lineage that is very, very secretive and is able to pull things off without a lot of people knowing. That's what's flowing through her veins as far as I can see, you know? So weird stuff. And then Candace goes on to talk about Tyler Boyer. Is that where we're at here? Yes, Tyler's time in Romania. Candace says she has receipts. I can't wait to see that, because Tyler already had a case, and I never actually reported on this. I'm sure you've already heard about it. He did have some weird case around him. I didn't know if it was real or not. I'm starting to hear that it is real. So we'll see what that leads to. But the missing $10 million, she says she knows for a fact. Now, for her to know for a fact, that would mean that somebody, either she has discussed with Wolves in finance, and she has just taken what he said and said, okay, this is fact, because Wolves goes deep. Everybody knows that, right? Apparently he's going to go deep this Sunday. I think that's what he said. I don't know what it's going to be about, but either she talked to him or she has connection to somebody who's within the company and is able to see the finances moving around. Who would that be? Mind goes back to Andrew Colvett, as always. Is it actually him who's giving her this information? I have no idea. Best way to run Andrew Colvett off of the list of people who are leaking information to Candace is for Candace to say, I'm pissed at Andrew. I don't like Andrew. In fact, I'll tell you this about Andrew. I'll tell you that about Andrew. Andrew gets a tiny slap on the wrist. They say, Andrew, did you tell her this? He goes, I thought I could trust her. This was when I thought I could trust her. This is when I thought she was really cared about Charlie. Not now. I didn't say anything now. But he's still giving her the information. That's if it's him. I don't know. But there was somebody who was talking about the money. Now I'm watching this blind with you. So let's watch this quick 3-minute clip.
This one's for Charlie Kirk. I followed the money on TPUSA. I found a lot. Let's go. I spent my career at the CIA and NSA and also advised other intelligence agencies. I now have my own corporate intelligence firm. All of these opinions are my own. This analysis is my own for entertainment purposes only. September 2nd, 2025, Charlie Kirk sends out an internal memo to TPUSA saying, hey, I'm announcing Justin Strife as our COO, and with that, he's going to lead a Doge-like effort into our financials and operations. Yay. Basically an internal audit, but without setting off red flags to the rest of the company that he wanted an audit. That's how I read it anyway. 8 days later, Charlie Kirk was murdered. Within the week, Erika Kirk was announced as the CEO, and that audit and Doge-like effort never happened. But lucky for us, TPUSA is a 501c3 and their financials are public. So I went in and dove in, announced myself as the independent Doge to do the follow the money, because in my mind, if the CEO is asking for an internal audit, he thinks something is up. And so I wanted to see what was going on. This is part 1. If you want to see the full write-up on my Substack channel, you can head over there and subscribe. Very grateful for all your support. I will start a podcast there next week as well. In part 1, I want to talk about what I think maybe gave him a sense that he needed to do an audit. And it's 3 vendors: Lion Rock Ventures, Cloverstone, and GSM Strategies. Whenever I'm asked to go into a corporation and assess the CEO or leadership or financials for fraud or potential red flags, because sometimes there aren't, but the first place that I go in their financials is their vendors and consultants. Who are you paying money to? Because to me, that's one of the easiest ways to hide and kind of show your cards. When I was looking at TPUSA's 990 forms, I realized that these 3 LLCs in particular shared not only a director, but an address. And then I started doing digging and I realized Stacey Sheridan is the common person in all of these. Well, Stacey Sheridan is also the senior advancement director for TPUSA, making upwards of at least $200,000 a year to do the exact same job that apparently they were paying these consulting firms to do that she owned. Allegedly. Let's say you can look past that. Let's say it's like, so what? Well, next red flag is Lion Rock Ventures formed in 2019, and then it dissolved a year and a half later, and then Cloverstone formed, and then Cloverstone dissolved, and all while she was doing the same job for TPUSA. And on their 990 forms, they did check the box where they have their directors and people in her position sign conflict of interest forms, and this would be a conflict of interest, absolutely. And they brought in almost $3 million across those 4 years. So you have an employee who is also getting paid to do the same thing as her job through these vendors, allegedly. I found the $350,000 payment that people keep talking about and the shady things around it. I found it in their 990. I'll do that in part 2. Stay tuned.
So that is the Leia files. I believe that's what that says. The Leia files. So I'm not sure when she put that out. Maybe part 2's already out. Maybe part 3's already out. Maybe she already started that podcast. But when I hear that stuff, I just wanted to show you guys that stuff. But when I hear that, I go, oh, okay, this is what Charlie was trying to figure out, right? Candace is saying that there's 10 million missing, right? This lady's saying that there's all these companies dissolving and forming and dissolving. And Stacey Sheridan is there within that whole thing. And it makes $3 million. This is probably the type of stuff that he's trying to figure out, right? He's probably like, what is happening? Where are all these things going? Especially when if he actually took a look and saw something form and dissolve and form and dissolve, and there's $3 million and Stacey's there and he's like, what is this? He probably was like, I need to figure out what's going on because this is too much. And I'm going to be on the hook for whatever is going on. Right. I don't think it was it wasn't a knight in shining armor thing that he was doing. It was more of a maintenance thing. Like, I just got to keep myself clean. Like, this is nuts. I don't know what's going on with these people. That was probably part of the reason why he wanted to leave that cause, because, he's getting that pressure. So it's like, why even be a part of this cause? If I'm getting this pressure and I'm getting accused of being anti this cause, I'll just leave, whatever. And it's part of the reason why he wanted Candace back. He probably was going to go to Candace and say, hey, those people you didn't trust, who I kind of brushed off when you said it? Yeah, I don't think I trust them either. I need help. I'm doing this Doge thing. I need you to be by my side in this whole thing. That's probably where he was going to go with it. Probably. If he lived past the 10th, he probably would have started moving towards that. And honestly, you know what's weird? What's weird or what's great or what's not great, that if he lived, somebody probably would have went to jail. And I'm not saying him. Like, he would have discovered something enough to be like, okay, this person goes to jail. Like, this is not me. This is somebody else. This is what they've done. He probably would have figured something out. Hit that like. Yes, I forget to say it all the time. Please hit that like. Thank you so much. Mortal Kombat often. Yes, that is what some people call it. That is what it's referred to as by some people. But yeah, that's where my mind went when it came to Candace talking about the missing $10 million. If she has more on that, that should be pretty crazy when we hear about all that. Now, the whole thing of Lori, Erika, and Tyler, that was one thing that you could see Candace was, I don't even want to say trying to figure out. She probably has it figured out. And she's just talking about it in this way right now. But when it came to one thing I noticed that she missed was she was talking about Lori and how Lori is also the wolf type. If you remember what Elizabeth Lane was talking about, the type that wants power, the type that wants to be in the power position. She's talking about her being like that to the point where she's like controlling Erika. I could see that. When she started talking about Tyler, and Tyler introducing them, the reason that Tyler is the one that introduced Charlie and Erika is because when Lori tried to do it, it failed. Now, if you don't know, and Candace didn't mention this, if you don't know, while they were actually in Philadelphia or in line to go to Philadelphia, Erika saw this tall guy and it looked familiar, probably because they're like implanting memories in her at night. They're like implanting, like, this is your husband. You love this person. You love this person. Just pouring, memory glitters on her, just all over. She's like, oh, what is this? But but what ended up happening the first time is Lori was like, go introduce yourself to that guy. You should go and talk to that guy. She didn't listen because she's like, no, Mom, I don't want to. But Lori was very insistent. Go and talk to him. Go. And it was Charlie that she was talking about. That didn't work. So then a little while later, Tyler made sure that they met. Now, what's very interesting about this, and I think it's AZ Tech. Candace was like fumbling the name. She was like, what's the name of that company? I think it's AZ Tech, where they are both directors in the, or it might be Super something. I'm actually not, I'm fumbling it too. But within that company, Lori and hold on, let me handle something here. I got a Joe here. Get out of here, Joe. Thank you very much. I'm a mod too. I'm over here. But Lori and Tyler are actually directors on this in this company. They're both directors. Now that's very weird, right? If I was a director on a company with somebody, it probably because we'd form it together. We'd probably have a business relationship or at least a deep, long friendship or something. So for Lori and Tyler to do it, now I know Candace touched on it. She said, oh, they needed a familiar name. That doesn't really make sense. They could do Erika. I mean, when it comes to, money being in the family or whatever they make from this company, it could be Erika. Erika takes out the dividends. That becomes her personal money. She gets tax on that money. She gives it over to her mom, tax-free gift, something like that. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be Lori, but it's just very interesting. So it shows that Tyler and Lori have this relationship, right? Because Candace is trying to figure out, how does Tyler know Erika? And how did they meet? Well, my thinking is if Lori and Tyler are directors on the same company, Lori tries to introduce Charlie, then Tyler introduces Charlie. I would think that it's very possible that Tyler knows Lori before he even knows Erika, or maybe alongside, but maybe he has the deeper knowing of Lori, maybe through parents, maybe family friend. Maybe he knew Lori first. That's what makes sense to me. Because again, to be directors on the same company, I mean, that's a pretty big thing. It's a pretty big thing. You're kind of tied to each other. It's like this weird business marriage of sorts. It's a very odd thing to do. You don't do that with somebody you don't know. You definitely don't do that with someone you don't know. You know that person. You have to sit down with that person. You have to discuss, because actually as directors, you have to discuss, what do you own? What do I own? Are you taking a salary? Are you going to take dividends? Am I going to take dividends? Are these going to be preferred shares? Like, there's so many things to go over. I just did this. I just had to do this. I just handled all this. It's difficult. So that's my thinking in terms of who knows what. But the aspect of Lori controlling Erika makes a lot of sense. Again, deep state figures. Now, a lot of people are thinking Lori's not even Erika's mom now. We've moved into that territory where we don't even think that Lori is related, or maybe related, but not Erika's mom. That whole family tree. Let me see. Where's that family tree at? That whole family tree that Candace was showing us made us think different things, We see that it's connected through Lori here, right? Kent, Lori, then Erika spawns Charlie. That's what it's saying, right? It spawns Charlie. But then also there are people who are thinking that this could be the pairing. Well, this is me thinking. I think Jack is way closer to Erika than people are letting on. But then there could be that pairing as well. Then that leads over to them doing this, and that would make this Dana person and this Alan Rothstein, that would make them related to Erika, and that would be Alan and where I'm looking is right here. Alan and Dana, or Diana, it says, are the parents of Nicole, right? And they talk about having a very deep relationship, And also, Nicole is the one that said Erika is Philadelphian. She goes, she is Philadelphian. I know, I'm her cousin. So it's interesting, right? How would that be? Maybe it's through these two. That's where my mind goes. I don't know about that, but that's where my mind goes. Especially because he has that connection with the interfaith, the Mormons and the Philadelphians and everything. Let's keep going. And then today it is going to be looking into the pageant world. And I think this is where Candace is going to start talking about Mortal Kombat Ultra a lot more when it comes to Erika, as she should. Somebody was saying yesterday, like, oh, Candace clearly watches your show, this, that. I don't care. Get the information out there and dig deeper than I did. That's all I want. Dig deeper than I did. You know what I mean? I'm over here making jokes. I'm over here making jokes about mint. you know? That's my main thing. I'm talking about Fed Slop. I'm doing infomercials. I'm doing act outs, you know? This is a comedy show. But, you know, take that info and bring it over to the serious show of Candace. I'm all for it. I hope she starts talking about that a lot more, because I think there is something there. And again, I say this all the time. It does not let Erika off the hook. It's not what I'm saying when it comes to that whole thing. But I think it's something to consider, especially when you start realizing how connected Erika is to that Utah church. When you start realizing that, I shouldn't say they do. It has been said by people who have left it that they do things that are in the realm of what could be perceived as Mortal Kombat Ultra. Right? Anyway, Baron said this. It was one of the funniest posts ever. He said, one of these women clearly birthed Erika. I think it's her. Baron, but boy, oh boy, does this lady look like Erika. Undeniable. That's Carla. If you guys don't know, in the family tree, that's Carla. That's what Baron said there. Baron's going in on Twitter lately. He's stepping it up over there, I think. Baron's not playing around. And then that's basically it, man. They're going into the pageant world. I can't wait. I honestly can't wait. I was going to jump into the Matt Walsh stuff here. But I don't know. I don't know what you guys think of that. But that's what I know. That's what I know. Anyway, let's get into the whole Matt Walsh thing. Matt Walsh decided that it was time for a nice, cool $7,000 check. Do we have 9,000 in the chat, ladies and gentlemen? AZ International. Thank you for that, whoever said that. The chat is moving unbelievably fast on my screen, but I did see that for a second. Someone just said Lori is a dude. Let's go. These are the type of people I like. Now that I know you guys are cool. Yup. Probably is. I know Black Poppy. Matt Walsh is just taking orders. Yeah. It's true. I would think so. Eventually, you're going to get pushed to do the thing that you're told to do. You know, Matt Walsh has been afforded. He's been afforded a lot of liberties at the Daily Wire, and I think that's because they can't afford to have another Candace Owens situation. Right? They don't want to catapult another person into massive fame, which is exactly what would happen to Matt Walsh, like overnight, if they got rid of him, because he's like, I don't know who has the right to exist. I heard him talking about that. There was an episode. He's like, who really should have the right to exist? I was like, Matt, are you crazy? Isn't Ben Shapiro there with you? Are you sure about this? Ben Shapiro's just standing behind the camera. His eyebrows are up to here. And he's just like, what's going on, Matt? So after Matt said all that, he was like, listen, you can, fine. You said that, no problem. But get back to work, Matt Walsh. Get back to work, Matt Walsh. Say this about Candace, Matt Walsh. Let's hear what Matt Walsh has to say about Candace and about Erika. It's mainly a defense of Erika.
Evidence that is based entirely on unverified tips and unverified claims from random sources cannot actually be taken on its own as evidence of anything. There are just too many other potential reasons why these parties may be involving themselves. But I've already explained in detail why I think Tyler Robinson did in fact kill Charlie Kirk, not at the behest of TPUSA or any foreign government or our own government, but instead moved by his own left-wing pro-trans radicalism. Trans radicals are murdering people in this country constantly. There is nothing at all surprising or implausible about the idea that they also killed Charlie Kirk. And you can go back and watch that episode to hear that case laid out. I hope you do if you haven't seen it. Today, I want to focus instead on the increasingly aggressive and single-minded attacks on Erika Kirk specifically. As you may have seen, last night, Candace debuted a new series called The Bride of Charlie, which purports to tell us the sinister truth about Erika. This, of course, didn't come out of nowhere. For weeks now, Candace has openly suggested that Erika may have committed a crime in connection with her husband's murder. For example, Here she was a couple of weeks ago stating that the police should detain Erika and subject her to interrogation. Watch.
Look, I have seen enough, ladies and gentlemen. I've seen enough. Erika Kirk should be dragged into a police precinct for questioning. Like I said, you can show me the person who disagrees with me on that after I will reveal to you what we can now confirm. You can show me that individual and I will show you a full blown fraud. That's the only people that would disagree with that assessment.
Now, keep in mind, as he's going to speak right now, that she said she should be brought in for questioning. Keep that in mind. That's what Candace actually said, that she should be brought in for questioning.
Well, but as we'll see, there isn't enough evidence to justify dragging her into a police precinct, much less charging her with a crime, much less convicting her. There isn't any evidence, actual positive evidence, that Erika has committed any crime or covered up any crime or had any involvement in any crime, to include especially the crime of murdering her husband. And that's why, although the innuendos about Erika may be compelling fodder for YouTube videos, they would not be compelling to a grand jury or a prosecutor or a judge. If you took everything that's been said about Erika or implied and tried to present it as evidence in a court of law, you would be laughed out of the room. There's no case here. There's no evidence of anything. Now, these attacks on Erika by Candace.
Now, what he just said, if you brought this to a grand jury, well, that's the thing that you don't do. You don't bring your investigation active to a grand jury or a judge. You bring that to a bureau. They're supposed to look deeper into it. They're supposed to start, like Candace said, questioning, asking questions, getting alibis, things of that nature. That's what you do with somebody who is doing an active investigation and bringing you information. That's what you're supposed to do with it. Matt Walsh is trying to say, well, if you brought this in front of a court, it's not done yet. It's not done. She's still asking questions. She's still finding facts. We're all seeing these facts build up. We're all seeing this odd behavior. There have been people arrested for odd behavior. That's a thing that happens. Someone acts suspicious and they get put in handcuffs. So we're saying that listen, I think she's acting weird. Weird enough. If I was an investigator, I'd be like, yeah, I'm going to look into her. I'm not going to threaten her or anything. I'm not going to scare her or anything. She's just like a mom. That's fine. But I'm going to start looking into her behind the scenes. That's usually what they do, detectives. They don't come to you and say, we're looking into you. Not all the time, unless it's like some big thing. But they'll just be behind the scenes. They'll be like, okay, we have to consider this person and we have to break down everything. And if we find anything that makes the most sense, we have to actually bring this person in for questioning. That's the part that Candace is at. She's still asking the questions. She's still forming. So for him, he's like taking this very oddly, in my opinion, dishonest stance in regard to Candace, because he knows that's not what she's doing. She's not saying I have hard evidence. She's saying I have enough. I've seen enough that she should be questioned. And I think a lot of people, as you start to look into everything surrounding Erika, is that, yeah, she probably should be questioned at the very least. And that's what's happening now. And that's why people are attacking so viciously, because she is being questioned. She's not being treated as the grieving widow. Like I read Barron's tweet yesterday. The notion is that she's grieving, but also that she's innocent. And then because she's grieving, you can't figure out whether or not she's guilty because it's not right to even question her at all. So you're just stuck. You're just stuck. So basically, the notion is leave her alone. No matter what it seems like, no matter what position she takes, whether it's CEO of Turning Point today or VP by 2028, you shouldn't be questioning her. That's not allowed. Interesting. Again, it seems like Matt Walsh got the call. That's what a lot of people will say. Matt Walsh works for the Daily Wire. He's in the room where the phone is. He doesn't get the call. He's in the room writing out his script as there's people making the call to other people. That's what's going on with Matt Walsh. Don't be confused. He's not in another place where the phone rings. It's like Walter White. He's with the people that knock. Okay. That's where he's at right now. He's not getting any call. They don't have to call him. They're making calls and they're like, hey, Matt, hello? Graham Allen, are you there? That was really good work today. I need you to do that again tomorrow. Is Gary with you? He is? Okay, I thought you said you were in bed. You are in bed. Okay, can I talk to Gary? I don't care. Gary, we need you to do that again, okay? Thank you so much. All right. Yes. This is Mr. Fort Huachuca. Have a good day. Matt, we need you to do something. Matt's in the room. Matt doesn't get the call. He's just right there. They say, get over here, Matt Walsh. Get over here, Matt Walsh. You know? I'm teasing. I'm sure he's a great guy. Funny enough, Candace has not talked about Matt the way that Matt's talking about her. I always find that interesting that she does that. She's not going to say anything bad about Matt. She's talked about how great of a friend Matt has been. You know, she's done the same thing with Officer Tatum. She will not speak badly about these people, which honestly shows a lot about her. Shows a lot about them because they're willing to turn, but really shows a lot about her. She's like, we have our differences, but we're friends. Matt Walsh is going to see Candace at that event. I don't know what he's going to do. Candace is going to come up to him. Hair is going to be slicked back. Oh, yeah. And she's just going to be like, hello, Matthew. How are you? I'm just fine, Candace. I'm glad to see you. You look well. You look well too, Matt. You look very well. You look $7,000 worth of well. I heard what you said, Matthew. I actually have to get ready for my speech. I think I hear Ben Shapiro. He's telling me to get back to work. Get back to work, Matt Walsh. Yeah, you hear him? You hear him? I actually have to go. He goes to his dressing room. Candace is there. Matthew, you ran away pretty fast. I was still talking to you, Matthew. I have to go. Who have you been with lately, Matthew? I haven't been, my wife, my kids. Matthew, you know there's sparkles all over your face. Do you realize this? Sparkles. Oh, I don't know where those came from. I have a good idea where those sparkles came from, Matthew. In fact, I have receipts. You know? He's caught. I'm making this take way too long. Let's keep going.
This and by everyone else engaged in this campaign are wrong, deeply, desperately wrong. Wrong morally and factually. They are wrong morally because they are wrong factually. The whole crux of the matter here is not just that Erika is a grieving widow, but that she is innocent of the accusations that are being made or implied against her. The point is not that, hey, Erika may have killed her husband or been involved in it or covered it up, but we should take it easy on her because she's a grieving widow. The point is that Erika didn't do any of that. There is no evidence that she did any of that. No evidence at all, period. Defaming anybody with untrue accusations is very bad, but defaming a widow, the grieving wife of a man that we all say we loved and admired, is unspeakably, horrifically bad.
So she's horrifically bad, you know? That's what Candace is going to say when she sees him. Matthew, you said I was horrifically bad. You know, Matthew, there's so many people who are like, you're crazy. I'm so crazy. You know, Balix tells me I'm crazy. All these people are like, oh, you're just the worst. You're demonic. You're evil. And then you tell me I'm horribly bad. Is that what you have to say, Matthew? Why don't you say it with your chest, Matthew? The sparkles all over him. I was just doing what Ben told me to do. I was just doing what Ben said. You understand? You understand, don't you? I really don't anymore, Matthew. I really don't. I don't know what we're going to do here, Matthew. She just pulls out her phone. What are you doing? What are you doing? I'm just making a thumbnail, Matthew. Don't do this. Candace, please don't put me on a thumbnail. Don't put me on a thumbnail, Candace. She posts it. Zoop. Comes up on his phone. Oh God. That's the worst picture you could have used. Why are you doing this to me? Covered in sparkles. I don't even know Erika. I just runs out of the room. You know, Candace is the Joker, right? He gets down to his car. Candace is right there in front of the door. Matthew, I'm not going to forget what you've done. Opens the door for him. I'll see you again, Matthew. I have to go. You know, cowardly. I had to finish up that act out. I really did. I know it seems unnecessary, but I really had to finish that act out. There's a whole script in my head when it comes to Candace and Matthew interacting. I want to see if this is a different part. This was like an hour-long thing, and I like Matt Walsh. I like him in clips. I can't do the Ben Stein monotone voice, Ferris Bueller. I can't do that voice for like an hour and listen to that. But I'll find some clips for you guys, right? So let's listen to this, see if it's a different one.
Her best to carry on her husband's legacy and life's work, which is what she feels called to do. Again, that is not difficult for a reasonable person to understand. But all of this is irrelevant. Even if you don't like how she acts, the pants she wears, her facial expressions, anything else, you have no actual evidence-based reason to think that she is guilty of committing any crime. And if she isn't guilty of a crime, then all you're doing is nitpicking a widow, which is every bit like critiquing the color of somebody's nail polish while you watch them drown in the ocean and make no attempt to help. Yes, maybe she made an odd choice of nail polish that day. She's also drowning. And that would seem to be the more salient fact. And it's interesting to me to note that Tyler Robinson is not subjected to even a fraction of the public scrutiny, even though all of the evidence, literally all of the evidence, points to him. There is no evidence connecting Erika to the crime. All of it. All of the evidence we do have, every bit of it connects Tyler Robinson to it. And yet, for some reason, he's not the subject of public scorn. Instead, it all goes to the widow of the man he killed.
Huh. That's very interesting. Tyler's gonna die if he's found guilty. I think that's I'm not saying like protect Tyler or anything, but it's like if he gets found guilty to the highest extent, they're just gonna kill him. So it's not quite scrutiny, but it's a lot. I don't know. I think so. We've been scrutinizing him quite a bit. What he looks like, how he walks, where he walked, where he went, how he prepared, cars he drove, friends he had, places he stayed, messages he read, how he wrote messages. I think he's been scrutinized quite a bit, actually. Also, he's not the one that made $250 million, in hats. When he talks about somebody drowning, and they have sparkly nail polish on, and they're drowning in a sea of hats, and dollar bills. And they're like, help me. I'm grieving. Help me. And you're like, where did you get all this money and hats? Oh, how dare you? How dare you ask me? Help me. Help. Come on. Why are there so many hats and so much money inside this room? What's going on here? Help. Stop asking questions. Please, stop. Just pull me out of here. I'm not pulling you out of here. Why are you in this room? If you couldn't swim in the dollar bills and hats, why are you in this room? I'm the CEO. Just help. Help me. I have too much sparkles all over my hands. But pull me out. Please. And then you pull her out, and she's like, how dare you pull me out of there? And she just looks at you and just falls back and just falls right back inside. And you're like, what the? I thought you didn't want to be in there. She's like, I lied. I love it in here. You fell for it. Just backstrokes away from you. That's actually how it goes. There you go, Fleet. Go ahead, run with it. Oh my gosh. Anyway. That's Matt Walsh, saying only a reasonable person would, an unreasonable person would think anything about Erika. I guess so. I mean, I know that tactic clear through, right? It's like, oh, only the worst person in the world wouldn't give me money. Only somebody who's racist wouldn't give me money. Will you give me money? It's like you're trying to set the person up, If you think this, you're unreasonable. Only an unreasonable person would think this. So if you think that and you'd like to not be, you can be reasonable and not think it. That's the way it goes. Nice try. Nice try, Maddie. It's not going to work on us. Can't wait till Candace sees him. Matthew, did you call me unreasonable? I feel like I've been so reasonable with you, Matthew. I'm not really understanding why you would say something like that about me. It's at his kitchen table. You called me unreasonable. I just realized. I saw it in a clip. Coach Colin shared it. Why did you call me unreasonable, Matthew? Oh, you're in my house. You can't be here. Please. Matthew, I found these checks for $7,000. That's odd. That seems like away from your payments. You get paid more than that. Why are there all these checks for $7,000 on this table? Huh? What? I don't know. I don't know. Ben Shapiro paid me. He always pays me. This says it's from Erika Kirk, this check. It's signed, and there's sparkles all over it, so I know it's from her. There's a whole series you can do with Matt and Candace. Let me tell you. Zach Costello. So many people, they tell me he likes me. They tell me he does good work. I decided to I actually stumbled onto this clip, but it's more of Charlie moving to, I think this is the one, or is that the one? No, it's this one. Charlie moving towards Catholicism. I know this is positioned a little awkwardly. This is actually from the Catholics for Catholics page, which the man on top of Zach Costello. Okay. I'm sorry I had to say it like that, Zach, but that's what's happening. So the man that is on top of Zach Costello, mounting him with the, I'm kidding. The man on top is John. That's Zach down there. John is just talking about his actual text messages with Charlie Kirk, and how close he was to getting over to Catholicism.
So we put on a mass here in Phoenix, and we just said, hey, this is the most sacred thing we have as Catholics, the Holy Eucharist. Why don't you come to Phoenix? She came, we did an event with her, and that was that. Well, guess what? So I'm texting Charlie about this very event. Okay, this is May 2024. And I just realized I haven't even shared this text before. So it's the first to hear this show. I said, hey, I sent Charlie the link for this welcome home mass. He responds, very cool. Okay. And then I said, Charlie, this little celebration thing we're doing is this is what we're going to do for you and turn it up 5 notches, I say, when you make it home to the Catholic faith. Okay. I was maybe a little too bold there, right? But so what did he say? He responded right away and said, well, just between us, the priest that I connected with you, I've been trying to meet up with him, and for some reason we've had a disconnect and unavailability to connect. But he says this, I've been trying to meet up to discuss architecture. No, to discuss Catholicism. It's right here, my text messages, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And then he said, I love Catholicism, right? So it was there. And then we were texting back and forth. I go to mass weekly. I love it. Right there. Charlie's messages. Okay. So I don't know why this is. I think I do know why this false architecture, like excuse has been being pushed, not just early on, recently. I think it was a friend of Erika's, I think it was Tracy, who said just recently, like, yeah, Charlie loved it. That's not true. Why would you push that? I mean, I think it's for what I said before. I think if you identify him with a certain faith that has a very clear position about how we treat the 1948 state of Israel, which is actually America first position, that's no bueno for a lot of the donors at TPUSA.
There you go. I was saying just this the other day, but I figured, it makes sense to play this because he actually has communication with Charlie, talking about going to mass, talking about wanting to meet up with the priest. He's basically leading, like, This guy says when you come home to Catholicism, Charlie says, I've actually been trying to meet up with this priest and we haven't been able to connect. It kind of leads towards Charlie actually wanting that in his life, which they said is just completely untrue. They said this is a completely untrue thing, not real at all. And then you have Charlie just there at Mass. Very interesting the way that goes. Also, his wife, cradle Catholic. So she says, but I mean, as you look into her family tree, it's like, I don't know where, who was. But she says she was, whatever. But yeah, it seems like Charlie was leaning towards that. And it is a problem for those donors. And that's a great thing that this guy said. This is John of Catholics for Catholics. I didn't sit down and watch the whole interview that Zach did, but I did find that clip very interesting because, yeah, seems like that would be a really big problem for anybody who is donating to Turning Point right now. That feels like, hey, Charlie loved us. You know, I said it before. When you talk, like he even said it, the positioning that they have as Catholics is very different than the positioning that Christians have. Although some Christians do feel the same way, feeling like, you know, the covenant with Christ is like more powerful than any land. That's the whole thing. A lot of people feel that way. So interesting. So it seems like he was moving over to that. I don't know. Barron showed me this. Well, I mean, he showed everybody this. It's Erika. Erika was living with some lady. That's the lady. 1-bedroom apartment. Let's check it out.
I think we've all seen these messages between Sydney and Erika at this point. Some people will defend it as normal. I'm not buying it. But what if there were evidence that when the two were living together in New York, they shared a 1-bedroom apartment? When looking at Erika's background, it yielded only one result. She was living at 640 Broadway, apartment 8B from 2015.
Let me see if I can make this clearer, bigger. It's like, yeah, that's crazy. I guess we just got to go with what he's saying. What was the message that I saw here? Jeez, it's all crazy. That's so weird. It's not like that on my phone at all. You can actually read the messages on my phone. Anyway, okay.
Some people will defend it as normal. I'm not buying it. But what if there were evidence that when the two were living together in New York, they shared a 1-bedroom apartment? When looking at Erika's background, it yielded only one result. She was living at 640 Broadway, apartment 8B from 2015 to 2017. However, that would not account for her time with Sydney. When looking at Sydney's background, it yielded much better results. She's listed at living at 121 Madison Ave, apartment 5G, during this time period where she was living with Erika. For the sake of redundancy, I even used a different provider to access her background. While this evidence places Sydney at the apartment, it does not prove that Erika was there. Thankfully, Erika was kind enough to leave us clues. Erika's first clue is the restaurant across the street. That video was from July 21st, 2018, long before Tasty's Cafe closed down. We can now place Erika Franzwe at 121 Madison Ave, apartment 5G on July 21st, 2018. In addition to October 11th, 2019, Tasty's Cafe would appear in the reflection of this window dozens of times. The second clue Erika left us is this picture she posted to her Instagram on February 2nd of 2018. Pay attention to the floor in her Instagram post and compare it to the floor of the common area of 121 Madison Ave. The third and final clue was not left by Erika, but Sydney when she posted this to her Instagram. If you see any similarities, that's because this photo was taken at 121 Madison Ave. So I'd like to ask, is sleeping in the same bed for 2 years just normal girl behavior too, or something else going on here? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below.
Interesting. Very, very interesting. Again, people just keep finding more and more stuff about Erika. If she lived with this girl and they slept in the same bed, I mean, it could just be nothing. You know, I'm sure ladies do that from time to time. For 2 years, that's a very long time. You would think they'd be like, "Hey, man, we gotta get another bed in here. Yeah, this is crazy. We gotta get another apartment." But it's also New York, right? So it's like you don't have a choice. It's either you're sleeping in this bed with me or you're going to sleep in a cardboard box, right? New York's pretty wild, You couldn't see it possibly, but it was like 1 bedroom, $5,100 a month. What? What are you talking about? It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Move to Tennessee. What? That's what you do instead. Move to Texas. What? Are you kidding me? Me and the wife, 3-bedroom house in Texas. What was it? 27? 26? Nice house. Come on. What are we talking about? $5,100? $5,100 to get stabbed by crackheads. Wow. What do you pay? What kind of weird stuff is this? What are you paying for? Kind of life you like? To get punched in the face by meth addicts? What? That's a lot of money. You know? Anyway, the reason I'm on these shoes is because if there was a relationship, Erika's wearing these shoes. She's definitely the man in the relationship. You know? Those are some pretty fly shoes, I have to say. That's the man. She's the man right there. You know? Which makes sense because she likes to be in the power position, you know? I don't mean that as an innuendo. I just mean, you know, whatever. Take it how any way you want. Let's keep going here, guys. I think we're jumping out of the water there. And let's jump in here. Somebody said pull out bed. Okay. How long are you sleeping on a pull out bed? Oh, I'll just pull it out. Yeah, don't worry. 2 years? No problem. Oh, you're in the room? You're in the room, you're in the bed? Okay. I'll sleep in the living room. Yeah, 2 years. Yeah, we'll split it. Don't worry. I'll give you $2,500, $50. I'm going to be sleeping in the living room. Yeah, no problem. What? I don't think so. Poland, ladies and gentlemen. I actually have to shrink this. Much shrinkage needs to happen right now. Poland has decided to have their own investigation into the associates of Redacted Jeff and the recruitment and exploitations that could have happened on Polish soil. So Poland has stepped up and they're like, listen, if you're closing it, we still have access to everything. We've downloaded everything. So whatever you remove, we still got it. We're going to figure out what actually happened on our soil. And if anything did happen, I mean, Poland doesn't play around. If anybody's going to go to jail, all we've been seeing is people like, oh, this guy resigned, that guy resigned. It's like, did he resign to a jail cell or not? He just resigned back to his mansion? What? What do you mean? Oh, well, he doesn't work anymore. So he did everything on that island and now he gets a vacation? What? And he's still a millionaire? Doesn't sound like a punishment. What? He's on wealthy leave. Yeah. No. His expenses are completely fine. He's completely fine. No. He has actually a lot of investments, so he's still making money. Don't worry. Not to worry. He resigned, but he's completely fine. And when he resigned, they gave him severance as well. So don't worry. He's completely fine. What? Poland, on the other hand, doesn't play around. If we're going to see anybody get thrown into a jail cell, it's going to be somebody who was doing something on Polish soil. They do not play when it comes to anything, when it comes to their society, when it comes to their people, their politicians. I remember covering and being like, their politicians say things that you wish politicians would say over here. I don't even want to say in the West, in North America, from the top of Canada all the way to the bottom of Mexico. You wish they would say the things that these guys say. You know, I saw one guy, he was getting berated by like this CNN guy. I think his name was like mid-high or something like that. One of these anchors, you know? And he was like, I don't care. He's like, listen, I don't care what you say. He's like, I made a promise to the Polish people. He's like, this is just what we're doing. He was like talking about like immigration. He was like, I made a promise. He's like, I promised the people. He's like, I'm not gonna waver on what I'm saying because of what you're saying to me. He's like, I have to do what the people told me to do. I was like, wow. He said it like so, like it was 1 + 1 = 2. I was shocked. I was like, holy, I've never heard a politician talk like that. And he did it. I know you're thinking, oh, well, he just said it. No. He did it. He handled business. It's actually crazy. It's actually really crazy. I forget what his name is. Tucker Carlson interviewed him a bunch of times. It's just talking about the same thing. They have a full task force to rip through the docs and are preparing to launch their own investigation. Polish officials are not satisfied. Wow, that's amazing. They're not satisfied with the watered down U.S. releases and are officially going to view the docs themselves as a direct threat to Poland national security. Translation, even Americans' closest Eastern European ally doesn't trust what Washington handed over and thinks the full truth could expose something massive. Oh, of course. I mean, that goes without saying. Another 3 million files. I mean, most people haven't gone through like 20 files and they're finding just the craziest stuff. Imagine if you went through all 3 million, and then imagine if you had the other 3 million. It'd be crazy. Be crazy. Silicon Valley be a ghost town. Washington would be a ghost town. You'd be walking around like, hello? Hello? Is there anybody here? Is there anybody here? You'd be walking into Congress. Completely empty. Even the janitor's gone. Janitor's like, yeah, you know, I got dipped in baby oil myself. That's how I got the job. Everything would be empty. Senate, empty. Maybe even the White House, you know? Anyway, let's keep going here. Am I? No, okay. I sit so still sometimes. I think I'm frozen. The DOJ withheld and removed anything related to Prez Orange. That's a real thing that happened. Something like 5,000 files got removed. Okay, fine. Let's see what this has to say.
Announced he's resigning from Harvard. Larry Summers, a top operative for Clinton and Obama, today announced he's resigning from Harvard at the end of the year after getting exposed in the files. And Bill Gates is saying sorry. In a town hall at his foundation yesterday, he confessed to having 2 affairs with Russian women while married to his now very wealthy ex-wife, and admitted to flying on Epstein and spending time with him in the U.S. and abroad. But he maintains he did nothing illicit. The billionaire said he met with Epstein in 2011, years after he had pleaded guilty in 2008 to soliciting prostitution. Gates said he was aware of some 18-month thing that had limited travel, but said he didn't properly check his background. And we're finding out U.S. Virgin Islands Democrat Governor Albert Bryan Jr. apparently gave Epstein special treatment just before his arrest, helping him with a construction problem he had on Pal Island. The global fallout continues. Prince Andrew.
Oh, geez, I'm muted. I know. So that's definitely Howard. That's Howard Letnick. He has not resigned. He has not stepped. What is that music? What was that, guys? Does anybody know? Yeah, I know. You're saying Barron. I get it. Yeah, fine. I've been hanging out with Barron. What do you want from me? You know? Oh, somebody was calling me because I was muted. Hey, relax. Don't do things that make sounds. It's fine. Listen, a lot of people here also watch Barron, and they're used to that type of thing, you know? Thank you, Barron, for conditioning these people to just understand. I'm kidding. He's a solid man. He is a solid man, 100%. So yeah, that's Howard. Howard has not stepped down. Howard has not resigned. People are saying this is the file, and it's been removed as well. But if you have access to Ian's web, you still have access to this file. That would be the file name. EFT A01230639. That would be the file name. But yeah, he's been pictured. Solidly pictured. So what's going on? Right? Doesn't seem like they're doing much about that. You know, let Poland handle it, I guess. I don't know. I guess that's what has to happen. Poland has to handle it. Thomas Massey commented on the whole thing. He said there needs I'm sure there's a good reason for this. DOJ needs to tell Congress who pulled this file down so we can ask them. I would like to know that as well. Who is deleting the files? You know, it's definitely not Bongino, because, you know, Robo Bongino is too busy. He's too busy handling all those grifters. Yeah. Those grifters and those black pillars. Yeah. You remember when he's doing that? Karate kick. You know, he's doing all that stuff. That's what he's busy doing right now. So it wasn't him. He's off the hook, right? Who was it? Anyway, let's get into the super chats here, guys. Hit 2 hours on the nose. And I have a hard out at 1:30. I have a coaching call that I have to handle. A coaching call. I have to sit down with somebody and we have to talk. Oh, I saw someone say no sound again. I was like, If there was no sound, it would have just, all you would have saw is it just would have been, with no sound. Would be like, oh my gosh, what is Coach saying right now? It's just gonna be an issue, you know. Always gotta let you guys know when Jamie steps in. Thelma, I read your email yesterday, Thelma. In case you didn't know or did know, read your email. Thank you for the email, by the way. I don't know if I said thank you, but thank you so much for giving us that email and giving us that little breakdown. The farm in Oklahoma. It sounds like a great thing. I really want to get a ranch. At some point, I would love to just have 500 acres, house on it, and that's it. I would love to have that, you know? Anyway, good morning, Coach and Miss Coach. Love from Maine. Thank you so much. Love from over here to you. Oh gosh. Inho I the jello. Inho it the jello. Okay, well, that's as good as it's gonna get. Am I frozen? Said not receiving video. Can you guys see me? Let me make sure I'm in the right chat. Just says lagging. Oh, someone said it was enjoy the jello. Well, I'm sorry. Okay, now I'm seeing myself again, but on the YouTube side, I'm seeing myself frozen. Okay, so now I'm seeing myself move things around and do stuff. Okay. Are we good, guys? Are we good? Let me know if we're good. Let me know if we're good. It's just lagging a lot. Okay. That's an improvement from what I thought it was. Right? Okay. So now it's showing me no dropped frames and it stopped dropping frames. So we should be good. Let's jump right in. Someone said, "Are you good?" I'm kind of. You have no idea the sweat that builds up when stuff like that starts happening. Ask Baron. It's crazy how stressful that becomes, you know? Because you got to solve it on the fly, right? Someone said muted. No, start and restart, but I'm muted, so you can't hear me say that. Here, I'll sign language it for you. You have to stop and restart. You stop, okay? For that person who there's no sound for, stop and restart, okay? Hopefully the message got through. Enjoy the jello. Beach ball under the water. Sunno search. Enjoy the jello. For my band. Don Gina. Tribute song. Clean lyrics. I know you. We talked. You sent me that picture of Dan. Yeah, I know you. Yeah, I have to check out that song, man. You said clean lyrics. That matters so much. You have no idea. Thank you for the clean lyrics. Because if I want to play it on the show, I want it to be as clean as possible. So thank you so much. Enjoy the jello. Sorry, I didn't realize who you were. But I do know you. We've talked on Instagram. Kelbella, 69. South Park. In tribute to South Park, when you see the number 69, you have to go, nice. Love your show, Black Poppy. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Dorothy. I'm going to call you Dorothy. You already told me. Coach is the best. Do you accept shekels? No, we don't accept shekels here. We do not accept shekels. We cannot accept the shekels. Just out of an integrity thing. Go check out Officer Tatum though. I heard he accepts shekels, all sorts. Heather, morning. Yesterday you threatened to block me. That's twice now. Please no, Poppy. I know black. You and the Mint Daddy family. Love you and the Mint Daddy family. That's so funny. Please don't block me. I'm not black. I'm not black. Don't block me. Don't worry. You are safe. You are safe. Rhonda, welcome to the crew. Just so everybody knows, Monday, we're doing a live stream. Me and the Mint Daddy crew. We're going to be doing it after the regular live stream. It won't be as long. Yeah, I was thinking of doing an hour, but I feel like I talk a lot. I really do. If you can't tell, I talk a lot, so it's hard for me to just do an hour, especially when I'm interacting with people. So it's probably going to be a little longer, but you should ballpark for an hour, maybe, and onward. Hey, Coach, I work at Stanford, and 2 days ago, I saw a guy in military attire with an American/Korean patch carrying the same maroon-colored sweater. I have a photo. Send me that photo. Send me that photo on Instagram. And, don't send it as a link to, a Google Drive thing. I can't trust that. I just can't. Even Fleet sent me something that was from a Google Drive thing, and I'm like, is this how she gets me? Is this how she's going to get me? Someone's going to get me. So I got to be careful, So yeah, just send it on Instagram or X in the DMs. Dorothy, I stopped watching Matt when he bashed pit bulls. Matt Walsh. Yeah, I like a lot of what Matt Walsh has to say. It's just interesting that he's willing to do that, especially because Candace hasn't turned on him. There's been a whole bunch of Daily Wire and Candace talking about Daily Wire, and Candace has never been like, I'm going to direct it towards Matt. She could have said Matt's a coward. She could have said, Matt won't speak up for me. She could have went off on Matt as well, and she always chose not to. She always chose to maintain the friendship, and then Matt just kind of turns the other way. I'm sure Candace, she has thick skin, so I'm sure she's fine. But it's watching that happen, it's come on, man. Why are you doing that type of thing? Denise, welcome to the Mint Daddy crew. Appreciate you. Me no fed slap poppy. Alpha Jerk. Ben has 3 mustaches on his face. I like that. I like that so much. Ben has 3 mustaches on his face. That is true. That is true. It's 3 of them. It's very odd. Very weird. Where is it? Where's that Ben little thing there? He has 3 mustaches. That is, once you see that, you cannot unsee that. He has 3 mustaches on his face. That is amazing. That is an incredible realization. 3 of them. That is wild. Thank you so much for letting us know that. Nurse Kate, I've been holding out hope for a picture of Erika Kirk at some fort to surface. Do you think one is out there, Coach? I don't know. Honestly, she stopped trying to supply an alibi. I remember Barron touching on it one time. I don't think that Barron has a photo of it. Maybe there's a photo out there. I don't know. I really don't know. If anybody has it, I would say Candace has it. Possibly got it from Mitch Snow. Mitch Snow was detailing his whole trip. As he was going there, he was detailing it all. Maybe he got in there and took a picture. And just maybe he was taking a picture of the room and caught her in it. If it does come out, I would think that it's going to come out at the end of this series. That's what or at some point in the series, because Candace is going hard right now. Natty Nicole, watching this on my TV while watching the recent clip channels on my phone, all while doing separate research on that Shaner Broadwick guy, nephew of Phil Lineman. We are locked in today. You are extremely locked in. What's going on with this guy's, what's going on with his nephew? Shaner Broderick, what's going on with him? Why are you looking into him? I would love to know what's going on with that guy. Haven't heard much about Phil Lyman in a little while. Mary says, Barron says he's going to blow the doors off the kingdom Sunday with his show. Can't wait. I saw that clip as well. I saw him say that. Somebody clipped it. I can't wait to see what that is either. I cannot wait. I can message him and ask him. I couldn't tell you guys or anything. He might tell me, you know. He might, I don't know. Or he might just be like, you have to watch, like, and subscribe. Yeah, he might just say that to me, and that's it. Veronica, Erika at Turning Point headquarters, like, I know, whoa, what happened there? Just switched on me there. That was weird. Oh, the weirdness starts to happen. I know Lebanese, mommy. That's exactly. And you're like, but you are, it's in your family. She's like, hey, my friend, no, nunca. I know Lebanese. Look, I blanco, eh? I blanco, eh? You know? Brandy says, I picture Ben Shapiro standing under Matt's desk with a gun pointed at his groin, saying, you better take Erika's side. That is hilarious. Shake my head at all the people that tricked me these past few years. Oh, man. You the man, CC. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. That is so funny. Ben Shapiro just standing there under the desk, standing up under the desk, you know, just pointing. That's a hilarious visual. Just whispering from under the desk. You better do what you're told. You better do what you're told. Get back to work, Matt Walsh. Get back to work. You know, just all small under there. Live in real life. Caught myself shouting, Moira, 11 some thousand times yesterday. I know, it's hard not to. It's an interesting name because, you know, it's weird. Moira. You know, it's weird, man. It gets me. I don't know what it is about that name. TV just died. Only sound now. Nicholas, Netherlands. Jeez. Is that a you problem? Or is that a us problem? Thank you for telling us. Chunky Monkey. You got me waking up early now to try and catch your show. I'm up at 8:40 a.m. and I usually sleep until 12 to 1. Lately, I've been kind of passing out towards the end, but I love your show, Coach. Thank you so much. That is, it's hard. I usually, see, the thing is, before I started this, I would usually wake up around that time too, like 11:30. I'd be like, let's roll out of bed, but I can't do that anymore. And which is a good thing. I don't want to be someone that sleeps that late. Come on, we don't want to be those people that sleep that late. Come on, come watch the show. Come laugh. Come talk about mints. Come and listen to me regale you with stories of mints and detonators. Mints, detonators, and sparkles. Tell you of adventures of people screaming at their loved ones from the afterlife to stop selling hats and solve my murder. So many stories. Moira, let's take a brief moment to remember Mikey McCoy to help us get over this Gary and Demon Slop topic. He walked away for our sins. Mikey McCoy did walk away for our sins, and a lot of people tend to forget that as they go through their everyday life. They forget about the hips that rotate, so they forget about the wonderful smile. They forget everything that he's done for us, okay? He walked away and plugged his ears because he didn't want to hear about any of our sins because he loves us so. You understand? Okay. Then he told his father first about us. That's what his father said. But then all of a sudden he said, no, he told his wife first. And then all of a sudden it was like, no, I called Erika first. And it was like, oh, okay. Well, you know, but we love him. But we love him regardless. Tammy Lee, as a lifetime member of your podcast, it is time to ask Candace for the big pop-in. Yes, do it. What do you mean? What am I going to do? I'm going to say, hey, Candace, come watch my podcast. What am I going to do? Pop in where? Pop in here? Come on. I'm no Baron, okay? I'm no Baron Coleman here, right? We're just having fun. She's gonna be like, I don't get any. She's gonna be like, I don't get any of this. She's like, what about the mints? What about the mints? I didn't research any mints. She's gonna be, what is all this? What's Philadelphia? What is this? She's gonna be confused. She's gonna be, what is all this? You know? I think her producer Mark was watching the podcast though, which is really cool. Really cool. I gotta reach out to that guy and just be like, come work for me. You know? No, but he's pursuing his own career. I hope he's doing well. All the doxing that people are trying to do to him right now is absolutely ridiculous. I hope he's getting through it well. But I feel like everyone on Candace's team like eventually expected something like that to start happening. So I think they're fine. Milo is our Cat Williams. When he walks in a room, heads go down. That is a good observation. He hows in, gets information, and brings it back to us. 76% of us, 76% you hadn't liked. Oh, yeah, hit that like button, guys. Come on. Come on, hit that like button. What are we at here? Oh, my gosh. We're at, what is it, 4,000 it says? Is that wrong? Come on, guys. Hit that like button. It helps tremendously. You have no idea. Please hit the like button. But yeah, he is like the Cat Williams. Heads go down because, you know, he was into some freaky stuff. And, you know, he was like a part of that little club, you know, the little junior version of that club. And now all of a sudden, he's not like that anymore, he says. And he still has all that information, you know. I mean, he was supposed to get sued by Benny Johnson a while ago. I don't know. Benny Johnson, he just kept calling Benny Johnson gay. He said everybody knew it. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. You know? I don't know. Maybe you should sue him. Maybe not. All presidents, ex M. Van Buren, are related. M. Van Buren's the only one that's not? Interesting. How do you know that? How do you know he's the one that's not related? I thought they were all related except for the current president. That's what I thought. Could be wrong about that, though. Heather, Coach, why are you always giving us jump scares? It just happens, you know? What can you do? What can you do? Boom, jump scare, got you. Boom, got you again. Oh, my gosh. Oh, gosh. Oh, goodness. That is a handsome lady. Oh, goodness. Oh, gosh. All right. Let's get back to it. Jump scared myself that time. JX, calling people demons equals the new calling people mustache man that starts with H. Yeah, good observation. Very good observation. That's exactly what it's like. Thank you for saying mustache man. I appreciate that. That could have been confused with Ben Shapiro, but you said starts with H, so we all understood right away. Turn up your mic. Turn up your mic. No, not turning it up anymore. We cannot turn up the microphone anymore. It's too much. It's too much. Turn up your phone. You know? Turn up your TV. If you're watching this on a TV or a phone, turn it up. Or not, because at any given moment, I could be like, I know black. You know what I mean? That probably gets real loud. Julie Bennett says his offing was a louche harvest. The same as 9, everyone transfixed and focused on the trauma. What is a louche harvest? What is a louche harvest? What does that mean? What is a louche harvest? Let me know in the comments. What is a louche harvest? The Market Cowboy. Love this deep dive, Coach. Remember back in the day, one of the only people covering esoteric influence was Mind Unveiled. You guys are favorite channels. Wishing you and family a restful weekend. Thank you so much. Really, really appreciate that. What time is it? Okay, we're still good. We're still good. Nakisha says nothing. Just a hot dog. Thank you very much. Thank you for the hot dog. Defonata troll. Candace series named after Bride of Frankenstein. No, it's after Bride of Chucky, the movie. You know, Bride of Chucky. Right? You know Chucky? You guys know Chucky? Old enough to know Chucky? Chucky's a little doll that was possessed by a man. You know, the man put himself into this doll through a spell. Then he inhabited the doll and he knew this kid, Andy, who owned the doll, and he wanted to get Andy in a position where he could transfer his soul into Andy. And then after a long series came The Bride of Chucky, where there was also a lady who had this same thing done, and she was inside a doll. And then they just went into a bunch of horrific hijinks in The Bride of Chucky. It was a wild movie, a very wild movie. Even as I'm saying it right now, I'm like, that's probably real. That's probably real. That's probably a real thing. They probably really do that. Like, that's like what the movie Get Out was about, kind of. Ricky to Tim, thank you. Biz Marley, have you noticed the same normies that didn't believe the redacted Jeff docs are being dismissive of Candace? They will never learn. Yeah, it's very true. They're also the same people who were like, saying things when it came to, back in 2020. I know Black Poppy, Whitney Murphy. Hello, Whitney. Holler at you. Mod team extraordinaire. Mod extraordinaire. Whitney Murphy. I know Black Poppy. Nunca. Joel and I are 30K feet in the air, not on an Egyptian plane, heading to Chicago. Thank you for all your hard work, Coach. Love you, Mrs. Coach. All the mods, like and sub. Thank you so much. On the way to Chicago. Wow, that's amazing. So that's where Charlie was. Charlie was in that gifted school. So Whitney's an operative. There you go. She's going to a Mortal Kombat Ultra site to check on some patients, perhaps. No, I'm kidding. Be safe. Be very, very safe out there. Don't go to O Block in Chicago. Stay away from certain areas in Chicago. Go to the nice areas. Holy fire, Luna, I think it is. Coach, you're my favorite part of the day. After prayer, I start my morning here. You help my ADHD brain stay focused while I homeschool, work, and run a ministry. So relatable. Bless you and your family. Christ is King. Christ is indeed King. That's amazing that you do all that stuff all together like that. Coach, you're part of my day. After prayer, of course, after prayer. I go and pray. I started praying with my wife before I get on the podcast. That's why I've been running a little late, because I just take that time now to sit and pray with her before we start our days off, which has been feeling really, really good. That's what we used to do every single day before, and I like getting back to it. But you're also doing homeschool. You're working and running a ministry. Jeez. I think that's what's taking care of your ADHD. That's scratching that itch for sure. Jessica, please, how did they have time to do harvesting on Charlie when they were rushing everything so much? And not to say, since it saved 5 lives. Is that a thing that happened? Really? They did that to Charlie? I didn't hear that. That's nuts if they did. That's crazy if they did. Yeah, I hope not. Well, I mean, everybody has their own choice, but yeah, I didn't hear that. I didn't hear that at all. They did that with Charlie? That's crazy if they did. Really crazy if they did. Anyway, I don't know if Charlie would he do that? I don't know. Kirk burning. Jeez. Why have I seen Christians more upset about people questioning Erika than they do about people mocking Jesus? About mocking Jesus. Are you talking about mocking Jesus, or people who are mocking Jesus and then Jesus is mocking Jesus? No, I'm just kidding. That was a dad joke. But yeah, you're right. You're 100% right. There are people that are way more upset. I mean, Bongino's way more upset. Bongino covered for the worst people in the entire world. And he's like so upset about Candace doing these 3 episodes. Like, oh, so what's going on here? Is that a podcast? Oh my God. Hey, Dan, there's pictures of Ludwig. He's on the island. I don't want to hear about that. You black pillar. You doomer. What? Dan, you had an opportunity to arrest these people. What happened, Dan? Hey, listen, I was busy with my Sharpie, okay? Sometimes you got to redact some things and you have a bad decision to make and a worse decision to make. And I tried to make the worst decisions possible. That's all it is. Anyway. I don't like Dan anymore, man. I don't like Dan anymore. I always thought, I'm not even going to get into it. I was going to say, I always thought he looked weird, looked a little shifty, but he really let it out. Really let it out after he left the Bureau. He got with the Bureau. It really came out. He came out of the Bureau, and now it's full on display. Just Robo Bongino. They focus so much on twin flames in the occult. One thought with his sketchy tree. I assume you mean the family tree. Erika, JD twins, bred to be our new elites, and Erika failed. Erika and JD Vance are twins. That's interesting. I do like, I was playing a joke when I was showing somebody who like put their pictures together, but you do kind of see it at certain times. You do kind of see it, but I don't know that they are. But again, big club. It's a big club. You're not in it, right? Marianne, there you go. It was me that said she was watching your show, and it was in a positive way. Like, that's so cool. I'd love for her to shout you out, but okay. Yeah, I know it was you. Don't worry. No, nobody was getting upset with you. Don't worry. You're okay. I know what you mean. Yeah. But again, I just, it's like, let's just, it's fine. It's fine if she doesn't, I don't know. Like I said yesterday, there's stuff that comes with that. Like, she retweeted me once, and it was like crazy. It was just like, it was attacks here and on X at the same time. I was like, what is going on? And it took like a week to recover from it. I'm like, is this what she has every day? Like, this is how it just works for her? But yeah, it would be cool. But I never get into anything for the notoriety. It's more like, especially doing live streaming, it's for the interaction with people. I really like being able to interact with you guys, and a lot of people who are actually for me and what I'm trying to do here. I get to interact with, and that's hard to find throughout the comment section. It's that, and it's also, my family. Like, this is like my career of sorts, and this is what I do. So it's like, that's what it's really about. I really tried not to look for the notoriety of anything. So if she like talks about something I was just talking about, it's like just cool. Like, if we're on the same wavelength, I think that's cool enough for me. Like, that's it. That's all I'm looking for. That's all I was looking for with like Ian, and like Ian's like shouting me out and all sorts of stuff. I'm like, wow, this is like nuts that he like appreciates me so much. Feels great. And like me and Baron, like, we exchange numbers, we talk. If I'm in Tennessee, I'm definitely going to meet up with him. So I value that more than anything, Baron doesn't have to shout me out. It's like, we're good when we talk to each other. And also I realized, I can reach out to Baron and have an interview with him on the members only part of things. So I think I'm going to do that. He said he owes me an interview. So I think I'm going to do that. Gonna call him out on that. And maybe I can get Ian too. Just let Ian let it fly, I'll try. We'll see. And then maybe one day down the line, I get Candace. Who knows? But Candace, I couldn't do members only. Candace, everybody has to see if I interview Candace. Enlightened, watching Candace Owens last night made me think. And also, just to say again, don't worry, you're okay. Don't worry. You're acting like something negative was said about you. Don't worry, you're okay. You're good by me. Watching Candace Owens last night made me think that Charlie Kirk always had an influencer BM. An influencer BM? What is that, baby mama? Then Candace Owens, but once Erika Kirk came, what is BM, guys? Tell me what BM is. I noticed Baron having to do the same thing. As you get older, I don't know the codes. Once Erika Kirk came, they pushed Candace Owens out because Charlie would have chosen Candace Owens over Erika to listen to, maybe late to the game, but realized during Candace Owens' show. Yeah. No, I think you're right about that. I think you're definitely right about that. There's a reason, and I don't even know if it has anything to do with Erika, but they wanted to push her out of the business for sure. For sure, they wanted to push her out of the business because she would be the loudmouth. Like, out of her and Charlie, she would be the loudmouth. And she would be like, I don't trust you. And I don't think you should be doing this. I don't think they should be doing that. And she was doing that. And that's why Candace revealed that there was a point where Charlie had a meeting and he didn't tell Candace about it. And she was like, he lied, and they had to talk about it, and she was disappointed. And, you know, so it's like, he knew that it's like, she'd have a problem with this because she was probably very vocal about who to trust and who not to trust. She was doing the big sister thing. Big sisters can be annoying. They will come to you and they will say, hey, you're not to do this. They will be like a secondary mom and be like, hey, you're not doing this. Don't do it again. You know, and then you got to hide things from your big sister. And then she finds out, and then it's a problem. So that's exactly what Charlie went through. So you hit the nail on the head. King Funky Junkie, Black Poppy. I have no right to, but I sing it around the house. For my birthday, my son agreed to record a Black Poppy dance mix for me. I'm so excited. Song coming soon. Oh man, you gotta share that with us. You have to share that with us, please. On your birthday. I mean, happy early birthday as well. Please share that with us. We would love to hear that. Nicer. I think Charlie kept to himself about leaving the cause and just told Candace. I think if Charlie kept to himself about leaving the cause and just told Candace only, they could have made a plan for him to get out and he could have lived. Love watching your show. I agree 100%. I agree 100%. If he had just went to her, and it wouldn't even have been like a quiet thing. Like you're like saying like, oh, they would have made a plan. She would have been like, oh, okay, say that on my show. Like announce that on my show. We're going to have a conversation. Cause that's how a lot of people in media, that's how they do it. Right. When Charlie was talking with Ben Shapiro, he was kind of making clear his stance. He even said to Ben Shapiro, I'm deciding to ask more critical questions nowadays. He said that with a little smirk on his face. And Ben wasn't smiling. He would have sat down with Candace and they would have had a good conversation. And just the conversation alone would have shown people that they're now standing together. That's how media works. They don't have to do big, wild things in media. It's like you just have a meeting with Candace Owens and you bring her on tour with you again and everybody gets the picture. They understand where you're standing out of nowhere. That's why right now Megyn Kelly's going through so much scrutiny because she won't condemn Candace Owens. Just the fact that she's saying, she went on her show and said, me and Candace actually got closer because of this. That's a really big thing. That's a big signal in media. That like, I'm not backing down. Then she says, I'm not going to bend the knee to Philadelphia. Like these are the signals that they put out, you know? Then she's probably going to do an interview with Tucker Carlson, right? Charlie made a big statement when he would say, Tucker's going to be on stage. He's going to be one of the main speakers. That's a big statement to make. So all he would have had to do is to sit down with Candace, have a conversation, and that'd be it. That would be it. Everybody would understand. And yeah, he probably could have lived. Probably could have lived. Weird. Or not. Or maybe they just would have went after him and said, screw it. I don't know. Have you noticed Erika's resemblance to some depictions of Maria Orsic, a key figure in the occult for the funny mustache German guy in the 1940s? No, I've never heard that name before. I'm surprised I don't know that name. Let me see. What are you talking about here? Let's see. Let's see an image of this person. Kind of. Is that her? No way. Is this her? A little bit of a a little bit of a resemblance there. A little bit. You know, maybe when she got older, I don't know. I'm seeing pictures of her young. I don't know how old she got, how long she lived, but I would have to see an older picture of her. Because Erika, and no insults, because I know what it's like to put on weight. She put on a little bit of weight, so she doesn't quite look like this lady right now. But I would love to see what that lady looked like in her later years. I have no idea. Let me see. Yeah, no, I can't find anything else. Interesting. Very interesting, though. Let's keep going there. I got to look into that person more. I don't know anything about her. That's my first time seeing her. Daily Wire might have created Matt Walsh's persona, which they probably own. If he left, he probably he would probably have to stop wearing flannel shirts and a beard on camera. They would probably let him keep the glasses though. That's hilarious. Could you imagine? Matt Walsh. I'm leaving the company, guys. Ben Shapiro gets on a stepladder and he's like, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something, Matthew. Let me tell you something. Standing eye to eye with him, you know, on top of the whole ladder. He has to be at the very top of the ladder. Let me tell you something, Matt. If you're leaving, you know the contract that you signed. You know what contract you signed. Give me your beard. Matt's like, go on, stop this. Ben, you can't do it. Give me it. Just rips off the whole beard. Your beard will be a nice addition to my eyebrows. He's big eyebrows now. How could you do this to me, Ben? How could you do this to me? You know I have no chin. You know I have a soft chin, Ben. How could you do this? Give me that flannel shirt. Give it. We're just wrestling. So dumb. So dumb. Good joke though. Yeah. I agree. You know, they probably do own the show. Same way they owned Candace's show. He would have to start his own YouTube channel. You know, Candace was very lucky in the sense of she had her own channel already, the channel that we all watch now, and it already had like 2 million, 3 million subscribers because people just really loved Candace. She was the biggest thing Daily Wire's ever had, right? So they just followed everything that was her, and she lucked out that way because as soon as she left and she was able to get that active again, it was like people just flooded it. Lori's grandma, Erika Kirk's mom. Lori's grandma is Erika Kirk's mom, and Kent Fransvey is still dad. Explains separations, divorce, and missing years. So she's the grandma. He's the mom. He's the father still. But then who's the mom? Right? If Lori's the grandma, then do I have the family tree up still? I do. If Lori's the grandma, right? Then who is Lori's daughter? Could it be Carla? Right? Could it be Carla here? Who would it be? Would it be Jerry? Who would it be at that point? Kendra? It would have to be one of these. I guess it would be one of these four. Right? I don't know. I think it'd be Carla. I mean, looks wise, that would make the most sense. I don't know. You gotta let me know where your theory goes with that. Erika Kirk's sister is really her mom. Erika Kirk's sister is really her mom. What sister? There's no sister in that family tree. I guess the family tree stops there. Let me see here. Yeah, Candace didn't really touch on the sister. But I know what you're saying. There is a sister somewhere. Huh. Who would that be? Tanya and Kent. Where's Tanya? I don't see a Tanya on here. Am I missing it? No. Or who's up here? Let's see. No. I'd have to see. I'd have to look into the family tree a lot more. Saying Tanya. Everybody's saying Tanya, but I don't see a Tanya. Am I tripping out? Is there a Tanya that I don't see here? And if there is one, why isn't she in the family tree that Candace pulled together? Yeah, no, there's nothing here. Tanya. Baron found it. Oh, did he? Give me a timestamp on Baron finding it. That'd be great to see. Yeah, because Baron said, I heard Baron saying that that Carla doesn't make any sense, right? People are saying half sister. Interesting. Okay. Often is a cult. Yes, it is. Randy, Matt Walsh has shown how much of a coward he actually is. Since 2023, it slowly started showing when it came to the topic of Philly. Again, you're the man, coach. Thank you so much, Brandy. Really appreciate that. And you're correct. Like I say, you know, the words of Joe Rogan, you can BS people for hour 1 of a podcast, hour 2 of a podcast, you know, maybe hour 2. But once you get from hour 2 to 3 to 4, the mask starts to slip. Who you are really starts to come out. because you get tired and you can't keep up the game anymore. And a lot of these guys are in hour 3 of their podcast, the podcast of their career. They're in hour 3. Coach, you make my work day so much better. Appreciate you. Have fun at work. Hope you're getting through the day okay. Cody, friend of the show, Cody Nicoles. Candace has to kill Graham with silence. From my experience, when you ignore him, he self-destructs. He has a need to feel important, and he's good at twisting your attacks back at you. That's interesting. Yeah, I agree. I agree with Candace. She doesn't need to go at him at all. I think I think she's given him as much as she's going to give him. I don't think she's going to give him any more. I think that's done. She said a little bit about him. She commented a little bit, and that was it. I think it's going to be just as much as she gave Gary Paramount Tactical. She's not gonna comment on him anymore. I couldn't possibly see why. I mean, it's so generic, the stuff that he says. It's funny to me. You know, I like to make fun of him. Fleet was making fun of him, but Candace has a series to go through. She has a whole bunch of stuff to go through. Matt Walsh is a meow. Imagine being run by Ben Shapiro and his tiny horse. LOL, yuck. Yeah, it is. It's a weird position. It's called golden handcuffs. That's what it's called. You know, when you have a show that is when you have a show that's doing so well, when you have a show that is just booming, you have these golden handcuffs on. You know, the fact that Candace was able to shake them off like that, the way she did, it's very impressive. A lot of people never leave the golden handcuffs. Have you reached out to Candace yet? There's a lot of tinfoil questions. No one asks her. You need to get Barron to put a word for an interview. That would be interesting. I don't use people like that, you know? Like I like just talking to Barron. I think there's so much more. Like you're right, I could do that, and it would be cool to interview her. But I mean, I think there's a lot to learn from Barron just about being a broadcaster, you know? Yeah, I learned a lot. When we first talked, he said he learned a lot from watching my show, and I learned a lot from watching his show, actually. Quite a bit, because his pacing is like so different than mine, you know. And yeah, so I don't know. I don't like to use people like that. Like I could reach out to Ian too and do that, but it's like I don't know. I don't do that. I have Eddie Bravo's number. I could go to Eddie Bravo and be like, "Hey, please get me in touch with Joe Rogan." I could do that, but I don't know. I don't like using people like that. Just say Julie, Coach's wife, must stay in constant laughter. I love these narratives. She'll probably get sick of it. She probably does at times. In an interview with the Hodge twins, Candace said that Matt Walsh works mostly at home and has 6 kids. He's not going to go hard on Candace Owens because she still gives him grace, even after all that Daily Wire has done to her. Go Max. Yeah, he does. He has 6 kids. I guess that's him at home. I guess. I don't really know for sure. It looks like a studio, but like maybe just lives in a log cabin, and that's cool. So I don't know. But yeah, she's given him a lot of grace. You know, and he has given her a lot of grace. It's just interesting to see it switch so quickly. And somebody even said in the chat that, you know, I don't like to say real Christian, but he could have called her just as a friend. Like, forget about Christian. Just as a friend, he could have called her and been like, "Hey, I think what you're doing is completely wrong," you know, and I'm going to comment on it, you know, and they could have had a conversation there, but he didn't do that. Dan O'Vision, here's the thing. I didn't care what Matt Walsh thought before this, and I still don't. He's Ben's hipster slave. He's Ben's hipster slaves. Yeah, he looks like he likes a nice IPA, you know. Get back to work, Matt Walsh. Get back to work, Matt Walsh. Tim, once again, Ricky to Tim. Thank you so much. J May 77 says this guy's off. This guy is off. Nah, he can't even accurately report why he believes he was converting. Yeah, that's pretty accurate. I mean, if you're talking about that John guy, he was pretty accurate. He said that he had text messages of Charlie talking about getting in touch with a priest after he said to Charlie, "I hope you come home to Catholicism, you know? And then Charlie says, oh, yeah, well, you know, I'm trying to get in touch with this priest. That's kind of saying like, oh, yeah, I would be coming over to that side if I could get more information and have more interaction with the priest that you introduced me to. And I am doing mass every week and I'm loving it. I don't know. That's kind of good enough for me. I don't know about you, but that makes sense to me. Katie Bug 88, dude, Candace Owens' staff came from Turning Point USA, which is involved with the Scientology group. Just saying, man, wrong for thee, but not for me. I don't think she said it was wrong. Did Candace say it was wrong for Turning Point to be doing that? Because their first major donor was a Scientologist, John Mappin, or is it Maplin? He was and is a Scientologist. He was also the first donor to speak up and say, I'm not going to be giving any more money until they actually figure out what is going on at Turning Point, until they actually take the investigation seriously and start taking what Candace is saying seriously. He was the first one to actually do that. So I don't know. And then, you know, if Turning Point had some people, also her whole staff is not from Turning Point, just so you know. Most of her staff was from the Daily Wire. So you're wrong about that, just saying. Because Candace actually talked about it. She said, I was leaving the Daily Wire and I turned to Savannah and I turned to a couple other people and I was trying to figure out who's going to come with me. And they went with her. So they're actually from the Daily Wire, which, you know, whether you like Daily Wire or Scientology, there you go. So one of the guys might be one, but I don't know. I don't see a horrible problem with that. Just like if I said any other religion, you know, the one that I can't say, if it was a bunch of people from the one I can't say, I wouldn't see a problem with that either. Just like when I mentioned Kanye, like Kanye works with a bunch of people from Philadelphia with everything that he says about Philadelphia. I don't think that's wrong for Kanye to do. I think it's fine. Who you work with is who you work with, you know? Anyway, let's keep going here. Knifey McBlade, jeez. What a name. That's like a Call of Duty lobby name, bro. It's a Call of Duty username. Especially for me, because I love melee. That's all I do. I don't set up with anything. I just melee. I got an axe that I run around with, Call of Duty, and I handle business. You're a sniper, I'll come for you. I'm coming for you if you're a sniper. You might get me once, but I'm going to track you down. Oh, I love it. Islam, Judaism, Catholicism are counterfeit / Canaanite religions. Barron don't seem to understand communing with spirits of the dead is a grave sin. Daily friendship with Christ over institutional religion. Why are you bringing Barron up? Like, what's the issue? Like, why you do? You're airing out your grievances with Barron over here? Come on, man, don't do that. Also, I guess so. I don't actually, you know, like you can say they're counterfeit. Like I get what you mean when you say that, right? I have a lot of deep Christian friends who might say something similar, but I don't know. You'd have to go, you know, I can't expect you to explain yourself more in a super chat because it's so difficult to, but I don't know. You'd have to explain that more. You can't just say that's fact and like we all are supposed to just nod and believe you. Why would a Christian organization like Turning Point have so many major Philly donors? Because Turning Point operates in their interests. That's why. Operates within their interests. That's also, you know, now that we know about Jack Solomon, Erika's uncle or father, I don't know, depending on if my theory is correct, that whole interfaith thing that you got going on, that's why there's so many of those donors that you just mentioned, and there's so many of those Utah churchgoers in the organization as well. It's stemming, I shouldn't say it's like directly Erika's uncle or father, whatever, but it's stemming from that same type of thing. You know, it's that interfaith thing, and the only evangelical seems to be Charlie, honestly. I don't know, it's very weird. I guess Rob McCoy, Frank Turek as well. But I mean, you know what I mean. It's weird. It is weird. But also it's like at the same time, it's like they can have those donors. I don't know. Sometimes those donors like that kind of thing. I don't know. You know, you got a lot of money. You're trying to write some money off. You're trying to donate to something so you can get a little return on your stuff. There's so many different things. And then also, actually, you know what? I should also say there's the political aspect. It's like, if you're a conservative, it doesn't matter what your faith is. You're just like, okay, these are the guys who make sure that conservatives get into power. Okay, those are the guys. Like, that's where I put my money because they're going to do it. You know? Could be that. Gracie Gonzalez, West Coast Cali conspiracy girly here. I like that. I like that swag. Love what you and CO do. Lord Jesus, keep our truth tellers, truth seekers safe. Christ is King. By the way, I want to read all the names for you. Say my name. Oh, I already said it wrong. What? What is this? My name, Gracilia? You knew this would happen. Gracila. That's the name, no? Whatever. Hopefully it is. Let me heart that. Thank you so much. I'm going to call you Gracie. You're pulling a Baron right now. I know. I'm sorry. That's what I've said. There's a lot that you can learn from Baron. That was one of the things. Susanna, Rosanna, Diana. That's what I call you. Basic training isn't just what you get. Isn't just to get you fit for duty. A huge part is the bonding through struggle. That's so true. You won't quit on your buddies. The brass can get you to do stuff. Yeah, that's so true. That's a great insight. They bond you that way. Yeah, it's not just about getting, because what I'm thinking of, what comes to mind first is buds. Like, I follow a lot of Navy SEAL dudes. I watch like a lot of Navy SEAL stuff. And I think of buds. If you don't know what buds is, it's like this wild training where they're doing the worst stuff. It's like hands tied behind your back. They throw you into a pool and it's like, you got to untie it and you have to swim back up. And it's like, it's nuts. Like, there's been a few people that have actually died participating in this training. And that's just to get into the Navy SEALs. It's wild. It's a wild training. Yeah. And now that I think of it, because I've watched it over and over again, they do some horrific stuff and they all bond through that. Huh. Wow. True. Good insight. Thank you so much. Jen 26. Catholics are Christian. If you read history equals Catholic Church was only Christian Church until split in 1054, Reformation in 1500s equals when all the Protestant churches were created by men and spin-offs from there. Little history lesson from Jen for everybody. There you go. Come on. Oh, did more pop up? More popped up. Whoa, even more pop. Jesus. Okay. All right. Sorry. All right, my bad. Back up. Jeez. What's going on here? How far are we going up here? Okay. All right, so let's go back here. I want to more came up? Jeez. Okay. Let's go back up here. Too large, great work, bro. Oisin coin. Go, what is that? Oyston coin? Go team, have a great day. I don't know anything about any coins anymore. I used to be deep in the coin game, but not anymore. I don't give a Dom. Thanks for making my work day not suck as bad. Dom watching from TV in bed with work laptop if boss sees, like a lazy bum still in pajamas. Happy Friday. That is a great way to spend a Friday. In your pajamas, in bed. I mean, if I could do it, I would 100% do it. In a nice big gray sweater. That's what I would do. Kaylin says nothing. Just sitting back. Oh, Zach Costello. What's going on, man? Thank you so much. Really appreciate you. You'll never catch a man on top of me. I'm sorry. I was kidding. Come on, bro. Go Max. Thank you so much for that. Really, really appreciate it. No, I know. It was just the position of the screen. You guys were just doing the horizontal mambo in the clip, you know? That's all it was, you know. Shout out to Zach. Thank you so much. Coach, we've been streaming you ad-free for years. Jaguar Alpha Macro. Okay. Always appreciate your humor. That's your what? That's your advertisement? Is that what that is? I was looking up YouTube channels. I'm like, what the hell is this? You know, I had no idea what you were talking about there. I still don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, because it's kind of free to do it anywhere. I don't know. Anyway, let's keep going. Sonia, you were so funny. Thanks for defending Candace always. Yeah, I like it. I like to do it. I am happy to do it. Don't need a shout out or anything. I think she's just she's being downtrodden purposely. And when that happens, you got to really take stock of what someone's saying. You have to really look at what they're saying, and you have to be able to defend them, because there's clearly something happening. There's clearly forces that we can't see playing upon her, and you know, that we can't see and that we can see. So you gotta defend that when you can. Crunch creator, Coach, did you ever live in Missouri around 07, 08? You remind me of an old friend. Love your show. Prayers for you and your family. No, I've not lived in Missouri. Friend of mine just said he's moving to Missouri. I won't say who it is. Someone I know just said, I'm moving to Missouri. Gary should stop, because he proves Candace right. That's why he should not stop, Kaylin. He should keep going. He helps so much. Internationally made HO, but I'm going to assume there's another word there, and it's not just ending there. Hoping Candace brings up Erika winning Miss Teen Arizona in 07 today. The Tim Taladou interview she did about pageantry in 2020 doesn't even bring it up. That's the picture that was in her yearbook. She's like Dory the fish. Yeah, interesting, you know, or more calculated than that, and doesn't bring certain things up for certain reasons. Matt Walsh says, stop. We say go Max. That's right. That's exactly right. Can't wait for him to run into Candace. Back to the 90s again. Oh, man, wouldn't that be nice? Back to the 90s. A 3-bedroom house in Texas / Tennessee sounds nice, but very dull. No, Texas is not dull at all. Not at all. You know, especially compared to what? New York City? Oh, my gosh. I mean, yeah, it depends where you are in New York. New York has some great places, you know. There's just something about NYC that's so intoxicating. Yeah, it's the fumes. It's the fumes that's intoxicating. That's what it is. It's all the brake dust that you're breathing in. It's on your windows. It's everywhere. It's what it is. It's what it is. People smoking weed. It's smoke. It's smog. It's the smog that's intoxicating you. And fun. We put up with the 5K and a little crime. A little crime? Hey, let me tell you something. A little bit. You put up with a lot of bit of crime. Tennessee's great though. Actually, it's actually such a good place. But it all depends what you want, right? If you're just like trying to raise kids and chill and not pay so much and save money and, you know, buy a house one day, then, you know, Tennessee, Texas, they're actually great places. Idaho as well. I have a friend that just moved out there. Florida, you know, the market's doing pretty well out there as well. But I mean, you know, you go upstate New York, that's a different type of thing. That's nice, because then, you know, any place I go to, whenever I go there, I want to be I want to be away from the downtown city by at least an hour. I want to be away from it completely. And then you go there when you need to go there, when you want to go there. But to be in it, it's too much. I've done that before. It's way too much. It's nuts. It's just nuts. It's not intoxicating. It's overstimulating, you know? And try a different place. That's what you should do. Try a different place. Try a different place that you think is like dull, and then you'll save a bunch of money and you'll be like, oh, okay. Because then when you have a bunch of money, life's not dull anymore. You know, you can go on vacation, you know, go to a different place where rent is half of what it is. Save that, go save that other half that you keep somehow getting, and then go on vacation to somewhere that's amazing. There you go. Then you balance it out. Ski Soka. Shout out to New York, by the way. It's one of the top places that watches my show. New York City, top place that watches my show. LA's the top, then New York, then Houston. Look at that. Those are the top cities always. Message to Prez, no new wars. You said he watches the show. I said he watches the show? Are you sure? You sure I said that? You sure? I don't know. I'd be surprised if he did. I'd be actually worried. I'd be very worried. I was watching. I'd be like, whoa, hold on a second. He said, what? Look for answers. I had a crazy thought. What if who we thought Erika's mom is really Erika's sister? Tanya and Erika are almost 20 years apart, and their old lady on her deathbed, so her grandmother is the mom. I can't find a picture of Tanya. Yeah, I couldn't find one either. Yeah, that's interesting. That's an interesting theory. I feel like somebody said Barron was talking about that yesterday, right? Oh, and Dallas. You know, it's funny. The fourth city that watches the show the most is Dallas. It's Houston first and then Dallas. Shout out to Dallas. Yeah, I can't find a picture of Tanya either. That could be it, man. That could be it. Brian Dilks. Oh, sorry. I was I saying Brandy? Sorry, Brian. Not Brandy. Sorry about that. Thought I pronounced it right and everything. Jessica, he wasn't donor. They chose it. They choose it posthumously. Who do they choose? Who wasn't a donor? Who are you talking about? You talking about John Mappin? Michelle White, 2 exact audio files from the Monroe Institute found in redacted Jeff docs and Tyler's laptop. Look at Focus 12 Hemisync, Mortal Kombat Ultra. Yeah. I've looked into Robert Monroe and all his stuff. I was doing a bunch of episodes on it, just going down that road when it came to Charlie and Erika, because I think there's an element of that to them and their relationship, but can't put my finger on it exactly, other than the gifted schools and the Tesseract school. Now that I know that there's a Tesseract school involved, I kind of feel like I could be correct about that. My grand girl heard you read my email yesterday, gave me a great big hug. She said, I get the hugs. Everyone else can have your autograph. That's great. That's great. I'm glad she heard it. Yeah, that was Thelma from yesterday. We read her email. Yes, we did. 100%. I wanted to make sure to make a point of it. Let's play a game. Can you spot the number of caterpillars on Ben's face? Oh, man, I think there's 3, but if you look closely, there might be 4. There might be 4. You got to look real close. Whitney says our Uber driver had Fiji water. Shout out to Barron. And most importantly, Mints. He was an angel, by the way. If you come to Tennessee, your future home, we better get a call. Yeah, for sure. For sure. We definitely want to come to Tennessee again. We always like to travel through that way. But we're also talking about traveling like west, right? Like I definitely do want to be in California for a minute, you know? I've been thinking about doing some shows out there. It is the place where people watch a show the most. So if I did a live show, my first stops would probably be Los Angeles. And I do like 3 venues there, or 1 venue, 3 nights, and just, you know, test it all out. Bo Unpacked, fun fact, the Cochran Group that hired Erika was funded by Barbara. I know Barb. Yeah, Shark Tank. Yeah, that's what I know her from. Erika's nonprofit, Everyday Heroes, like you, took trips to Africa, and so did Clinton, Spacey, and the Bear. Oh, gosh. Wow. That's not good. That's bad. Yeah. Good eye, though. Good catch. All this looking glass talk makes me think of Alice through the looking glass. Candace is Alice. Ben is the Queen of Hearts. Who else would you cast? I don't fully know that thing, so I can't cast people. But I would definitely cast Barron. Cast Barron in there. Cast Ian in there for sure. Dragonfly, maybe Tanya, yes, mom, had her firm first marriage. Okay. All right. For all you guys that understand that. I was watching Baron read things like this yesterday, and he was like, that's not a sentence. That's not a sentence. What's going on here? He's like a teacher when you guys are sending super chats. Our Lynn, do you think even with the hardcore evidence, anyone would be held accountable? Feel like the fall guy has been chosen no matter what the evidence comes to light. Yeah, that's exactly what I think. I think that's very true. It would have to be undeniable. It would have to be so undeniable for them to even consider it. So undeniable. Canadian momster, anyone else keep seeing random flashes in YouTube lives ever since the YouTube blackout? Subliminal messages sent from Philly? I like how you jumped to that right away. She's like, I'm not checking my computer. I'm not updating my computer. Okay? Just, do you guys think it's subliminal messages from Philly or not? I like the way you think. I like it. Oh, you gave me a timestamp. Perfect. Thank you so much. Baron. So that is, you say February 26th. You got to tell me what episode it is, but I'll figure it out. 26 Feb, 1 hour. I guess it's yesterday's, so I'll figure that out. 1 hour, 52 minutes, 5 seconds. Okay, cool. Thank you for that timestamp. I can't play it right now because I do have a hard out at 1:30. Got my coaching call that I got to do, where we talk about business, and where I'm going with my life. Hair. Oh, I'm like trying to read this like it's one word. Here we go again. There you go. Thank you so much. Coach, Charlie had 4 reasons to ex him filing for divorce. Leaving Philly, 10 million gone. He was Candace's friend to avenge the Macrons. Could the necklace have been a bug or maybe the kaboom? I don't know if those are reasons to leave Erika, unless he knew she was involved, right? The $10 million, Candace is speculating that that's Tyler. She says she knows for a fact that's Tyler. So that wouldn't be a reason to leave. Leaving the Philly cause, that might be reason for her to leave. Maybe not him. Maybe she can't abide by that. They have to separate. The Candace part, just getting back into that deep friendship with Candace, that could be a thing. But that would be jealousy. Usually you don't walk away with jealousy. You dig your feet in the sand and you want to be the one. And then the necklace, I'm not sure of. I'm just not sure of when it comes to that necklace, man. I really, really can't tell. That necklace was doing all sorts of weird things that people have pointed out. But I don't think it has enough surface area to be a kaboom. Ronnie Joni, welcome to the Mint Daddy crew. Fleet, friend of the show, as always. Hope you and Mrs. Coach have a good weekend. I uploaded the video to X and sent it to your DM. No links. I'm sorry. It's just it's a trust problem I have. I have an issue with that. I gotta learn to trust people more. The good people. You're one of the good people, Fleet. Pammy Cakes. Lori's daughter from the first marriage is Erika's mom. Franzvi impregnated her, resulting in Lori being grandma. That would explain family troubles. Huh. Interesting. Okay. Of course, do your own due diligence. Thank you. Thank you so much, Knifey. Of course. Oh, I know what you mean. Yeah, no. I would have to look into that myself. Yeah, definitely. He's talking about Catholicism and stuff. Hey now, don't be telling people about Idaho. Enough people have moved here. It's full. Yeah, my buddy moved out there. He loves it. He wants me to come down, check it out. He loves it. He was in Florida, and that wasn't conservative enough for him. So he went out to Idaho. Yeah, he says the same thing. He's like, man, I don't want anybody from any other place coming over. It's a little bit of a secret. It's a beautiful place, man. It has winter, which sucks. But other than that, gorgeous place. Really gorgeous place. I simply can't comprehend how people as diligent and thorough as Candace and Baron are Catholic. We serve a jealous God who deserves all the glory. Communing with familiar spirits is a big no-no. I don't say it if it ain't written. All right. I don't know. Like, again, you're airing out your grievances with them. I don't know what to do about that. What do you expect me to do? You think I'm going to turn to them? And, you know, I don't know about Barron. With Candace, it could have been a big statement. That same statement that Charlie would have made if he switched over to Catholicism, Candace may have been just making that statement. You never know. You never know when it comes to that type of thing. Anyway, guys, I do have I have to be out of here in 5 minutes, so I do appreciate all you guys. Thank you so much for all the love. Let me make sure that I read that one, because I see one popping up here. Oh, yeah, that's Knifey. That's Knifey McBlade. Thank you guys so much. We're going to be back Monday. Of course. I'm thinking about doing the short form videos, but again, like I always tell you guys, if you want more content over the weekend, the Clips channel will be giving out clips. We will be putting out videos there. We have been putting out videos there. I didn't even remember if I did show the Clips channel, right? That is the Clips channel. As all you guys know, that's the Clips channel. Check it out over the weekend. There definitely will be videos there. We're almost at 500 videos. We've got 482 up there. So hit that subscribe button over there, and you will not regret it. Okay. For all those people who can't stay up with the live, maybe you just joined late. That is where you get your highlights. That is the highlight reel. And eventually, I think when I do some work with Fleet, that's where we will put the animations, and those animations will be exclusive. And I'll make sure in some way, shape, or form they help support Fleet as well. So it'll be a secondary little support for her. That's the hope. That's what we're trying to do. Anyways, thank you so much, guys. Really, really appreciate you. I am heading out of here right now. I will see you Monday, the live stream. I will see you in the chat of Barron. I will see you when Candace Owens comes back on Monday. Also, I think she's due to go live in a few hours. So we'll see what she's talking about with pageantry. And that's it, guys. And any updates that come through X, don't worry. I will make sure to bring them to you so you do not have to trudge through the mud pile that X has become. Anyways, have a great weekend.